The story is about Rudo, who collects junk that wealthy families have thrown away. However, one bad day flips his life upside down. He is betrayed by everyone he knows and loses everything. So he must prove his innocence to regain his lost esteem and avenge his father's death. The story begins, and a little girl cries over her ruined bear, but her mother throws it into a pit with the rest of the trash. Inside the pit, the apostles are trying to catch a trash raider, but he manages to escape out of it while carrying the thrown bear in his bag. Word of the trash raid spreads fast, and the city instantly blames the tribe's folk. Because, of course, why not blame the poor? However, when they see a man in disheveled looks, they stop talking since he's one of the tribe folks. The man walks away with his notebook and enters the other side of the city behind a great wall, consisting of small huts and untidy streets, which are completely opposite to the neat and beautiful side of the city. On the dirty side of the city, the trash raider from earlier is trying to fix the things he'd gathered from the trash, while others wish he'd stop bringing disgrace to them. A girl comes up to him and calls his name Rudo, so he looks up with his red eyes. When the girl scolds him while staring with her yellow eyes, he says her name, Chiwa, and states that the wealthy people always throw away perfectly usable stuff, so it helps him make money and cover his expenses through that. Dude knows how to find value where others see trash. Right then, a bunch of rude boys come and make fun of Rudo and his gloves. When they further call him a son of a homicidal maniac, he glares at them with his red eyes, which scares them away. Once they're gone, Chiwa declares that he isn't like his father, so he tries giving her the bear, but her mom calls her and scolds her for being with him. Rudo gets up and goes to the workplace of the disheveled man, Regto, from earlier. Apparently, Regto found him abandoned and raised him. The man still cares for him. That's why the man tells him to refrain from raiding by himself since he's still young. However, Rudo states that he's doing it out of respect, and Regto teases him for not being this honest with Chiwa. Regto patches up Rudo's gunshot wound and his blackened hands, aka his cursed fashion accessories. The father of Rudo got thrown into the pit as the punishment for his major crime, and Rudo's hands have been colored black as far as he can remember. People used to give him weird looks because of that, so Regto gave him the gloves he wears. Thus, he secretly feels like he owes a lot to the man. After treating him, the man then advises him to confess to Chiwa with a smile as soon as possible and teases him more, while a hooded man hears their conversation from outside. The next day, when Rudo's thinking about how every piece of trash and criminal gets thrown into the pit, Chiwa arrives and asks him if another criminal is getting thrown. As he gets nervous upon her sudden arrival, she talks about the clever choice of punishment ground and asks him to stop raiding the pit since she doesn't want to see him get thrown in it. He tells her how Regto said the same thing. Thus, she says that it's because Regto loves him too. Both of them realize how she indirectly just confessed to him about her feelings. So after blushing hard, he finally gives the bear to her, which makes him even more excited. Rudo runs to inform Regto about the big news, but bumps into some apostles. He gets up and rushes over to Regto's place, only to find him killed by the hooded man from last night. He tries to fight the hooded man, but the man beats him down, picks up a book from the ground, and leaves. Rudo crawls to Regto, who instructs Rudo to run away and change the world before dying. Right then, the apostles use the shotgun on Rudo and charge him with Regto's murder. Rudo is about to be thrown into the pit. Thus, he calls out for Chiwa and asks her to find the actual culprit, but she believes the accusation against him and drops the bear before leaving. Before he falls into the pit, he spots the hooded man in the crowd, but it's too late. The fall's so long he blacks out midair, complete with a psychedelic slideshow. Finally, Rudo wakes up on top of a pile of filth and trash. He finds the smell unusually bad, and he looks around to find a giant dragon-like creature eating the trash, which makes him realize that the pit is actually hell. Rudo runs away from the monster when it suddenly roars, and several other monsters emerge. While running, he stumbles upon a human skeleton, and the ground below him falls down. He grabs some soil from the ground to cover his nose from the smell. Cursing the people for throwing him here, he throws up blood, which attracts the monster to him once again. He wonders if he's going to die when suddenly Regto goes through his mind, and a red spark passes through his glove. Once again, he stands up with the fire of revenge burning through his body and grabs a piece of metal, through which he begins to fight against the monsters. Far away in the pit, a man with an umbrella watches Rudo like it's live entertainment. Although Rudo keeps bleeding through his nose, he doesn't stop until the red spark passes through Rudo's glove once again, and his eyes brighten up. So, when two monsters attack him, he grabs a metal slate and slices off their body of them. However, when another monster arrives and begins the destruction, Rudo is sent flying to the feet of the Umbrella Man, who has a gas mask on. After kicking Rudo's back, the man puts the same gas mask on him as well, which helps Rudo breathe. Rudo bombards the man with many questions, but he instructs him to be quiet. Since Rudo couldn't hear his whispers, he continued to scream at the man, asking him if they were underground. The man finally yells back and explains that they're above ground, where humans like Rudo have been dumping their trash. He adds that the monsters are immortal trash beasts with Bluetooth hearing for every loud noise. Right then, a trash beast finds them, so the man swings around his umbrella, which brightens up with yellow energy, and then spins it in front of the trash beast. The monster gets shattered into many pieces, but the noise attracts a whole crowd of trash beasts. Nevertheless, the man manages to shatter them all in one go, except the last one, who fights till the end. Once the man returns to Rudo, he asks the man who he is to have such great powers. The Umbrella Man introduces himself as Engine and takes off his mask to show his face, claiming that he's a mere cleaner. However, he starts to get suffocated by the foul smell, so he puts the mask back on, whereas Rudo collapses. Back when Rudo was younger, he came to Regto after getting beaten up for telling the bullies that objects are alive, since Regto once told him how caring about things makes a soul inhabit them. Rudo wakes up dreaming of this memory, but finds his hands tied with chains. Engine begins to drag him along because Rudo collapsed. When Rudo insists on returning to the world, the man looks up at the sky and calls it the sphere, saying no one can get there in the sky. Angrily, Rudo demands that he disclose the secret of going back to the sphere and the details of this place. Thus, Engine drags him to a place away from the trash where two vans are parked. As soon as he leaves without a word, a bunch of men arrive and look at him with their masks on, excited about how Rudo might be a spherite. Upon confirmation, they all throw away their masks and untie the chains around him, only to tie tighter ones after throwing him into a van. They plan to sell his body and explain to him that it's because they hate spherites for throwing their trash here and polluting their world. Therefore, they'll be selling him off to the sufferers of the monsters and pollution. They feed him food waste to torture him, and out of anger, Rudo bites off the man's flesh from his fingers and begins to eat the rest of the food waste, claiming it's edible. His anger over the labels he's been getting flares up, and that red spark turns into full energy, resulting in the chains breaking through. Engine watches from a distance as Rudo turns into a giver for giving life to his gloves with energy, whereas Rudo attacks the men with the chains and a van tire, making them astonished upon using more than one object. Engine steps in just before Rudo goes into full chaos and offers him to join the cleaners, but Rudo refuses. Engine takes Rudo to a female doctor and tells her about how and where he met Rudo. When Rudo protests against joining the cleaners, the woman scolds him for being so ungrateful to Engine for taking him out of the poisonous trash land. Later, Engine warns him to keep his spherite status quiet unless he wants another kidnapping on his resume. He then takes Rudo to the city side of the grounds and feeds him some food. After that, he enlightens Rudo about the creation of trash beasts and how they even come to the city sometimes. Looking at Rudo's gloves, he declares that they can beat the monsters since Anima inhabits them through continuous care, just like Engine's umbrella. Such objects are called vital instruments, and the anima of a trash beast core can only be defeated by it. In short, the cleaners are a gang of trash beast exterminators. Upon getting asked if he'll tell the way of going back to Sphere, Engine confesses to not being aware of that, although his boss might know. When he further asks Rudo about the gloves, Rudo tells him that his father gave them to him, so Engine understands why Rudo takes care of them so much. Rudo gets all emotional, but Engine ruins it by casually tossing him cash earned from pawning his wardrobe. That's one way to kill the mood. Funnily, Rudo grits his teeth at him while he walks away to see Rudo's trainer. Sadly, the pouch of coins gets stolen by a stray cat. Not even the cat respected that moment. Rudo runs after the cat. He grabs a wooden stick by the wall and catches the cat with its help. The owner of the stick appears from the dark alley and asks for it back, at which Rudo calls it a mere dumb stick. This annoys the man, and he snatches away his stick before pushing Rudo away before activating his magic. Turns out the man has the same emblem as Engine, and he's also a cleaner. The man then attacks Rudo for stealing his assist staff, but he manages to dodge it. He then reveals that he knows about Rudo and further says that he belongs to Akuta Cleaners and has the name Zanka Nijiku, Rudo's new trainer. When Zanka insults him for not learning any manners from his father, Rudo gets angry to hear Regto get insulted, but he recalls Regto's teaching of being understanding of his opponent's emotions in a fight. Therefore, Rudo sincerely apologizes, which melts away Zanka's anger as well, and he apologizes too for scaring Rudo. By giving him a hand, Zanka asks him if he's ready to be among the cleaners and questions him about his vital instrument. When Rudo tells him about the gloves, he begins to examine them while Rudo realizes the big difference Zanka's smile has brought to his personality. Recalling Regto's advice of smiling, Rudo tries to smile while answering Zanka that he's only joining cleaners until he gets what he wants. The nightmare smile backfires, convincing Zanka he's being mocked by a psychopath. When he gives it another try, Zanka gets really pissed off, and a heated argument breaks out between them. During the argument, Zanka ends up calling Rudo's end goal a shitty one, which hurts Rudo a lot and makes a fight break out. Zanka activates his assist staff, and Rudo grabs a metal rod from a nearby trash can before activating his powers as well. This makes the man realize why Engine called Rudo a natural, but he stays confident about Rudo not being able to defeat a mediocrity like him. Both of them begin to attack each other, and even though Rudo dodges a lot, he still ends up getting knocked down. Zanka feels something wet on his face, and realizes Rudo's weapon of choice is a poop-smeared plunger. Since Rudo doesn't know what a plunger is, he continues to attack and chase after Zanka, thinking it's a good weapon. After Rudo gets Zanka and the filth gets sprayed all over him, he keeps lying on the floor petrified until Engine drives by. When he gets to know about the situation, he cries out in laughter. They then notice a red-haired girl, Rio, lying on the back seat of the car after they all get in. She gets up and begins to play with Rudo's white hair, making him nervous, while Engine drives them to Cleaner's headquarters. The group finally arrives at the headquarters while Rio plays with Rudo's hair throughout the drive. Upon entering the huge building, Rio and Zanka get on their way, and Engine introduces Rudo to the receptionist, Semu. As Engine enlightens Rudo about Semu's glasses being her vital instrument, as they boost her kinetic vision, she kills 2 flying bees with just a fork. By using her ability, Semu declares that Rudo is already athletic enough to skip the physical training, but needs to train to better control his vital instrument's powers, so Engine takes him to meet the boss to join the cleaners. After informing him that there are about 100 of them assigned to different duties, Engine takes Rudo to meet some of them. However, when he opens the door, he finds a ton of them gathered there, so he postpones the meet and greet. He then takes Rudo to the boss's room, advising him to propose the idea of working with the cleaners by himself in exchange for the information. He warns Rudo not to ask about the boss's vital instrument because, apparently, blind loyalty is their company policy. After mustering up some courage, Rudo opens the door but finds the office empty. Right then, Semu comes there and informs them about the boss being off to some business for a while. As they think about what to do, Rio suddenly appears and offers Rudo to come watch her work as a trainee, and walks closer to him to say that she wants to know him better. Thus, they follow her to a room where Semu explains the job. Upon realizing that Rudo is not completely aware of the polluted zone, she explains to him the division of safe zones and polluted zones where trash beasts are found. The place where Rudo was dropped is the most dangerous polluted zone, one of the 6 no-man's lands. She then hands him the gas mask to wear in that area, or else he could die within 15 minutes. Looking around the trash where he can still spot the fixable trash, Rudo follows Rio and 3 other cleaners, supporters who don't have powers. When one of them shows his immense strength, Rudo realizes he needs to watch carefully to learn until a herd of goat-like trash beasts is spotted. Seeing him scared by the number, Rio assures him that these trash beasts are weak and slow. The moment he relaxes, a stronger sheep army storms in and starts body slamming the barricade. While the trash beasts are about to be forced into the safe zone, Rio is busy talking about throwing a welcome to the ground party for Rudo. When he points out how calm she's being for such a situation, she calls it a basic trait for living in the grounds. Thus, Rudo tries to be calm too. However, the trash beasts finally destroy the barricade, stealing away even Rio's calm. She takes out a pair of scissors, her vital instrument, and begins to attack the trash beasts. Putting the giant one on hold, she first gets rid of the sheep and goat-like trash beasts by swinging her scissors with her feet. The supporters protect him from the attacks and beat down the trash beasts for Rio, a cleaner, to kill them. Out of nowhere, a trash beast attacks one of the supporters, so Rudo steps in to protect him. Since Rudo can't control his powers, the stick turns into a big nest-like shield. But he loses hold of himself, so Rio steps in and saves them all. Rio is unable to kill the giant trash beast, which has appeared for the first time. The supporters go off to log in about its appearance, whereas she jumps in to make another attempt. She slices off the tentacles at its head, which regenerates but makes it go berserk. As she tries to hit the shining spot on its head, it attacks the ground violently, throwing away Rudo. Nevertheless, a supporter saves him, and she kills the trash beast just in time, revealing that it was driven by a cutter, a vital instrument. Meanwhile, Rudo's kidnapper wakes up in junk, talking about how he got knocked out by the spherite. But a shadowy man overhears him and takes sudden interest in his spherite drama. The next day, Rio arranges a welcome party for Rudo, but he's been sulking ever since he failed to control his vital instrument powers. When Zanka joins the party, he asks Rio about the trash beast from yesterday, to which she tells him about how its core wasn't anima, but a vital instrument. Unsure what to do, she promotes the problem to a higher pay grade and demotes herself to party mode. As Rudo keeps sulking in the corner of the party, the supporter with strong hands, Grizz Rubion, joins him and appreciates his efforts for protecting the other supporter, Follow. Nevertheless, he continues to feel guilty about always needing someone's help. Suddenly, Grizz thanks him for not looking down at them like the rest do to the supporters, and then tells him how Follow is also working on a treasured item of his own to become a giver, but still wants to stay a supporter. Given that, Grizz encourages Rudo to stop following others' ideals and do what he wanted to do before coming to the ground. Once Grizz pats his head after telling him to believe in himself, the others join in too and tell him to eat something. This conditional love from everyone catches him by surprise, so he goes with them to eat. While they're eating, a guy plays music and begins to spray paint a wall. Engine tells Rudo that it's Gob, the guy who doesn't deviate from his plans. Even though Engine and the others express their dislike of his work, he continues to paint, making Rudo scared of his eyes when he turns around. In the junk where the kidnapper is trapped with another man, the man tortures him before killing him for good once he gathers all the information about the spherite, Rudo. The cleaners get a request, so Zanka and his supporters are called in along with Rudo. When Zank objects to Rudo's presence despite not being properly appointed as a cleaner yet, Simia reveals that the request is relevant to Rudo. She explains that the client found a spherite, but has gotten both the spherite and his cargo stolen by a trash beast. Since it's weird for two spherites to appear so closely in time, she mentions the possibility of him finding out the way back. Thus, he decides to go. The group heads out, while Rudo gets to know that Grizz fights with bare hands and carries a knife for self-defense. However, Follow blows up his cover of carrying a talisman and secretly praying to it before every job. As he's showing his talisman, their client appears and leads them to the trash beast's lair. Rudo asks her about the spherite, to which she confirms that she wasn't going to sell it, and it just got taken by the trash beast. On their way, Zanka feels doubtful about the things, since trash beasts usually kill people on sight rather than just kidnapping, but he keeps following the client anyway. Upon reaching their destination, they enter the building pointed out by the client and notice someone sitting at the far end of the hall. The girl pushes them inside, and as soon as they notice that it isn't a human on the chair, the floor under their feet collapses. The group, except the client, falls to the underground floor, and two raiders appear with purple lanterns. Since the raiders are also givers, Grizz commands the supporters to secure exits and protect Rudo. When they all run away, leaving Zanka alone with the raiders, he gets to know that the raiders want to know about the sphere from the spherite, Rudo, and how he managed to cross the border alive. Nevertheless, they attack Zanka with several mud marionettes just like that client did. He easily fights against those, but when one of the raiders gets mixed in with the mud marionettes, it becomes hard for him to dodge. After getting attacked several times, he tightens his grip on his assist staff, but when he tries to move, it turns out the female raider has already turned it into mud. The raiders try to scare him even more when Zanka shuts them down and reveals how he's noticed their powers and plans thoroughly. He casually slows and deletes both raiders in one blink right before someone respawns behind him, The supporters and Rudo arrive at the exit, but since they can't use their chokers down there, Grizz sends some of the supporters to go topside and call for backup. Right then, they hear the sound of footsteps. So, thinking it's Zanka, they stay relaxed until the man who killed the kidnapper appears. The man scans Rudo like a human barcode, confirms the match, and slams the exit shut with debris like he owns the place. Ignoring Grizz's warning and questions about Zanka's whereabouts, the man gets closer to Rudo. He then snatches away Rudo's mask, asking him to come along with him. When Rudo pushes him off and inquires about Zanka, he reveals that Zanka's alive, but is under his Venom's attack. He then uses his vital instrument, which gives him blade claws, and he begins to attack them while Grizz and Follow protect Rudo. Grizz steps in front of Rudo to protect him, but he keeps asking Grizz to move away. However, it's too late because the man has already pierced his claw into Grizz's body, making his talisman fly in the air. Back when Regto was alive, he found Rudo bashing his head into a wall one day. Regto runs to stop him, only to find his head bleeding. Turns out, he thinks that his parents have thrown him out. And this has filled him with immense anger for feeling worthless. Due to having no other feelings to experience, anger is all he's left with. Thus, Regto decides to take him around for him to find something he'd like. With that said, Regto gives the whole empty room to Rudo to fill up with things he would like in the future. After going around the city, he finds a wealthy man throwing out a mask. This makes Rudo burst into tears as he states that it's just a little broken and shouldn't be thrown away. From that day, he became a trash raider, fixing up slightly broken things thrown by the wealthy. When Grizz's talisman flies out, Regto catches it immediately. Since his sentiments have been hurt, he turns the talisman into a vital instrument, making Grizz realize that Rudo's power is to bring out the full and uninhibited worth of things, rather than just making it a vital instrument. Once the talisman, Hamza, turns into a big eye with 5 metal arms, Rudo recalls Grizz's encouraging words, so he keeps his calm this time while using the powers. Before getting into the fight, the man introduces himself as Jabber Wonger and asks for Rudo's name. Once he gets Rudo's name, he attacks Rudo but keeps getting dodged. Meanwhile, Follow panics over Grizz's bleeding, but Grizz just lies there proud like a teacher watching his student finally not fail. Jabber's attack gets dodged very easily by Rudo. This makes Rudo remember how Grizz had prayed for their team's safety from this talisman. Thus, it has improved Rudo's ability to dodge and stay uninjured. However, since he can't use the talisman to attack Jabber directly, he can still use its observation powers to track Jabber's movements and attack with his own hands. Given the situation, Jabber starts running around to make the dust fly to create poor vision for Rudo and Hamza's eyes. Nevertheless, he still gets tracked and punched, though he keeps laughing out of excitement. Once again, he looks up at Rudo with his purple eyes and begins to flash around him to build up some confusion and distraction. Despite all of his tricks, he keeps getting dodged and attacked in return, which leaves him bleeding. After coming to a stop, he talks about how he's noticed that Rudo's vital instrument can't detect the hostile intent from a non-living thing, so it doesn't help Rudo to dodge it. Considering this, he states that his vital instrument, Mankira, the right blade claw, contains a powerful neurotoxin. Thus, he stabs his heart with it and wishes to see how Rudo's vital instrument will react when Jabber starts railing around after losing consciousness due to the neurotoxin. After saying this, he falls silent for a moment, Rudo wondering if he's about to explode or just nap aggressively. Rudo waits for Jabber to react, giving him any chance to move, while Jabber moves backward in an abnormal way, twisting his eyes until only the whites show. He then lets out a laugh. Rudo stumbles back as Grizz's talisman waits for any sign. Jabber moves with lightning speed toward Rudo, but without precision, as if he's gone on a rampage with no thought in mind. Rudo tries to defend himself, but the talisman can't catch Jabber's movements. He steps back, thinking of moving away from Grizz and following another plan. Just then, Jabber attacks again. Rudo stops him using his own strength and realizes that Jabber has sent himself into a fugue state through his own poison. He suddenly remembers how the neighborhood kids used to call him a masochist. Back then, Rudo had gone and asked Regto what masochist meant. Looking at Jabber laughing maniacally at him, he realizes that he's fighting a true masochist, and he has no idea how to deal with one. Just as Jabber lunges to attack again, Zenka's staff comes into contact with him, piercing him into the ground. Rudo looks at the limping Zanka and asks if he's alright after being poisoned. Zanka tells him that he's been observing from behind and came to help, since Grizz's talisman only reacts to hostile intent. Rudo asks how he knows that, to which Zanka says that it's because he has Teacher's senses on, and then instructs Rudo to let him strike so that the talisman will throw Rudo toward Jabber, allowing Zanka to land his hit. Surprisingly Rudo with the suggestion. Rudo asks what would happen if their plan didn't work, to which Zanka smiles his teasing smile and says then Rudo should shield himself against his attack. Rudo hesitantly agrees, and according to their plan, Zanka attacks him, letting the talisman react against Zanka's attack, sending Rudo flying toward Jabber. Rudo stumbles back, asking in shock if Zanka actually tried to harm him. Zanka laughs, telling him to bear with it for a while, then instructs him not to get in contact with Jabber's claw, since only a scratch can leave him wiggling for hours. Their strategy works. They fight together and manage to suppress Jabber long enough to stop his attacks. Jabber lies down on the ground, covered in wounds, but still smiling with his eyes white. After some time, fatigue catches up to Zanka, and he suddenly collapses. Rudo tries to help him, but Grizz's talisman vanishes into thin air as he tries to catch it, sending Rudo into a spiral again as he mutters that he let Grizz down by not taking care of it. Zanka looks up at him and thinks about how his vital instrument works on borrowed time, so it must mean something is wrong with either Rudo or Grizz. Just then, Rudo starts slurring his words and trembling when Zanka notices the scratch mark from Jabber's dagger on him. Jabber gets up easily, still laughing, then pulls out his claws from his right hand, piercing them inside himself. His eyes get back to their original color as he praises his poisoned mind for taking care of Rudo. He tells Zanka that his other claw grants him a 10-minute recovery time from his own poison. He then poisons Zanka and takes Rudo with him. Rudo tries to resist as Jabber drags him outside the building. Jabber looks around to find himself outside, thinking about the logistics. But before he can go any further, the cleaners attack. Engine separates Rudo from Jabber, saying that he purposefully took their teammates inside the basement so they can't ask for backup, then orders Tom to take care of the others inside the building. Tommy runs to find Grizz, as Engine praises Rudo for fighting with a maniac like Jabber. The said maniac in question activates his poison again, saying he can't go against his boss's orders to take Rudo with him. He prepares to attack, when suddenly, a pair of hands wrap around him, stopping his attack midway. Chthoni appears from behind, telling him to come back since their boss has a big smile on his face, instantly getting Jabber to do more. To everyone's shock, she takes Jabber back on their boss's orders. Jabber, before disappearing, looks at Rudo's gloves and points out the series of marks on Rudo's hands, saying their boss will be pleased by them. Then, they vanish together into the manhole that closes with them. The others rush to help Grizz, bringing medical aid to him. Rudo kneels in front of him and asks for forgiveness for not taking care of his talisman. Grizz, on the verge of death, smiles weakly and says that if he were able to help Rudo, then everything is fine, even if he adores the talisman. Rudo lets out a cry and holds Grizz's hand. Rudo sits in silence as Engine approaches him and congratulates him on finally learning to use his weapon. Rudo says that it does not matter if his power is just about destruction. Rudo replies that he thought of moving forward while learning how to live on the ground. But the same thing happened again. Engine tells him to stop thinking like that and asks him to join the others to pay respect to Grizz. Rudo reaches the hospital room only to find Grizz grinning at him from the bed, then congratulating him on using his powers. Rudo lets out a shocked noise, to which Rio and Engine start making fun of him for thinking that Grizz was dead. Grizz also laughs, saying that he shouldn't eliminate him just yet. Rudo says that he saw him taking Jabber's claw in his chest. Grizz then tells him about the Giver, who is their only healer in the cleaners group. He introduces Aisha to Rudo, saying that she is very shy. Aisha looks at Rudo and smiles shyly, saying that it's her job to look after her team. Grizz says his thank you to her, making her even more shy. The teammates all wish Grizz a speedy recovery as a foreign voice interrupts them. Rudo looks up to find a big guy smiling at him. Engine tells him that this is their leader. Rudo realizes that he is the leader of the cleaners and shows his respect. The big guy introduces himself as Corvus, saying that he is the leader, then praises Rudo for saving his teammates. Corvus then invites Rudo to his room, saying that he would also like to give Rudo a change of clothes. Corvus reminds him of the borders that they got to know about from the Raiders. He tells him that the said borders are the distance between the sphere and the ground, which is also the place where most people die before even reaching the sphere. He tells him about the woman who lives in no man's land near the border, and the incident where she told one cleaner that she said that there are people who come and go without dying. Rudo realizes that if he manages to find the woman, it could help him learn more about how to reach the sphere. Just then, Engine enters the room to see Rudo wearing the cleaner's outfit. Rudo moves to meet the said woman in no man's land, while Follow stops him from going there. Suddenly, Engine calls him out, saying that he just learned how to use his weapon and still doesn't know its limits, so it's basically a suicide mission. Rudo asks what makes a raider have powers like a giver. Engine tells him that it's not about the morality of the giver to become good or evil, but their intentions. He suggests that Rudo relax for a few days. Rudo lies alone on his bed, thinking about how to relax when he barely sleeps, when Rio enters his room, telling him that she will give him a tour of the cleaner's headquarters. They start roaming around the building as Rio shows him the training room to the bathrooms, startling a flustered Follow who is inside. Rudo tells her that there's so much to do here on the ground compared to the sphere, to which Rio asks what he used to do there. Rudo tells her that he used to go out with Regto and collect food. Rio asks about the food, to which Rudo tells her that there was a clear difference between the rich and the poor. Rio tells him that they have sweets here on the ground, which brings light to Rudo's eyes. She takes him to have him taste the sweets. The next day, after Rudo's sugar high, they all gather to help him learn about his ability. He tries activating his power, but fails. But Zonka says that Rudo liked to fix broken things, so they must start from there. He takes the garbage can and tells Rudo to use anything. Rudo takes the broken lamp and transforms it into a powerful weapon in no time, but soon exhaustion takes over and his nose starts bleeding. They all remember how Grizz's talisman got broken, to which Rudo says that there's a time limit to his powers that breaks things. Rio, understanding that he's overthinking, suggests that it's because his weapons have fulfilled their purpose, so they vanish completely. Zonka further adds that after the fight, Grizz's talisman vanished too, so it means that his power is to find the worth, rather than break things. That realization brings a new hope to Rudo's eyes. Rudo lets out a groan as he scrubs his hands against the sink. He lets out a groan, washing his wounds away. Eventually, he comes out of his bathroom stall as a newcomer catches his eye. Rio, lying on his bed wearing her normal clothes. His breath hitches as he asks what she's doing there. Rio passes a smile and replies that her room is just above his, and she could hear him moaning and groaning, so she came down the window to check up on him. Her gaze settles on Rudo's hands as she points out that his wounds don't look like burns. Rudo hides his hands behind him, replying that she should ask his asshole parents as to what these wounds actually are. Rio stares at his face as Rudo avoids her gaze. She eventually stands up to reach the window above his bed frame, then turns around to say that sometimes parents do bad and good things to them and jumps outside, leaving Rudo in a daze as he tries to get in touch with reality again. Engine takes Rudo to Corvus's office, where Corvus tells him to get Rudo his full face and prepare him for the next mission. Rudo asks in confusion what that meant, to which Simu explains that all the cleaners are requested to and given full protection before they enter no man's land, before facing the trash beast. Engine takes out a familiar-looking mask and shows it to Rudo, telling him that it's a full-face mask worn by the cleaners, that they have an artist among them. Semu continues that the preparation in question is a protection spell, rather than being drawn on the cleaners before entering no man's land. Upon asking, Engine tells him that they will be going to Canvas City to get his spell drawn by a giver who possesses the power, and introduces the team that will be following them on their journey. They all get out of the car as Tamsi tells him that cities are built like this to protect from the trash rain. They all get in line to enter when Rudo notices two men trying to enter the gate, but something unseen stops them, whereas the cleaners all enter without any problem. They finally enter the city buildings, followed by art and paintings. Delmon says that the whole city is like a canvas. Engine tells Rudo the city's spellcaster has the gift of protection, which is why the men before couldn't enter. He tells him about the giver who would paint the HQ. Just then, a small girl collides with Engine and ends up with tears in her eyes. Rio makes fun of him for making a kid cry. Just then, the city's mayor comes around welcoming them. Engine takes the lead, saying that they want to meet Gob. The mayor's face scrunches in pain as he breaks the news that Gob passed away this morning. The cleaners enter the room where Gob's corpse lies on the bed. The mayor tells them that Gob had gone outside for more walls to paint when the pollution overtook him. Rudo notices Gob's hand and the same little girl who had bumped into Engine. The mayor introduces the little girl as Gob's best friend. He tells them her name, Remlin, and says that she is the chosen successor of the spellcaster. Upon giving the successor the vital instrument, they would immediately become the giver. The girl keeps blinking away her tears. The mayor points out how it's a difficult decision to give the whole city's control into a young mind's hand. The mayor turns to Engine, apologizing that their protection spell would take some time now. Engine looks down at Gob and then tells the mayor that it's okay. Just then, Remlin gets up and lets out a scream. She wipes her tears and gets Gob's paintbrush from the mayor. Remlin runs away from the room. As the others follow her, she gets on the roof and starts painting on the surface. Others stand behind watching her. Once she finishes, she raises the paintbrush as the enormous burst of energy surges from her, and she successfully begins her giver's journey. Rudo stares at her when he thinks of Regto. Remlin turns to the mayor, saying that she wants Gob to stay happy in the afterlife, and that would happen if they stop weeping because he died while doing what he loved. The city starts celebrating. Rudo stares at Remlin with his eyes wide open, thinking his thousand thoughts. While Rudo and Remlin are arguing about the Joker face paint Remlin has done on Rudo, Engine and the Canvas Town mayor discuss understanding what kind of people become spellcasters, noting that the new ones resemble the old. The mayor remarks that their whimsy seems utterly unstoppable. At this point, Remlin is the 6th spellcaster, who seems to love painting instead of doing the main work. However, at that moment, as Rudo wipes the paint off his face, the mayor can't help but remark that spellcasters record their history through art rather than the written word. Because obviously, words are for boring people who can read. At this point, Remlin explains that he has noticed that when he draws on a person, the power doesn't work right if he doesn't have their permission. Thus, he takes permission out of town to draw on the walls. Because he has been doing this with objects and walls, he assumes it is the same with people. Thus, he takes consent first before drawing anything. In other words, he asks before turning anyone into a walking art project. How considerate. Having said that, Engine, connecting random dots like he's solving world peace, recalls that it was the same with Gob too. So maybe the spellcasters get the same abilities as their predecessors or something? Even the mayor indeed heard that their powers have been similar throughout. Though there will be a few differences, Engine understands that people might have the same abilities, but obviously their way of using and implementing those abilities and ideas is different, so things vary. Though Remlin explains that their goal is to make drawing feel playful. They mix funny and serious things, like adding balloons to battle scenes or hiding meanings in their art. So even some dark or stressful moments look creative and not so dull. According to this guy, Gob and the ones before him were chosen for freedom and play. He admits that he plans to choose someone like that as well. This makes Engine assume that they get similar powers because they think the same way. Frowning, Remlin reveals that they never think alike. They simply draw whatever they feel in the moment, which always leads to something different. At this point, Engine gets so frustrated by these double statements that he tries to move forward to attack this artist, but is stopped by the Canvas Town mayor, who suggests he not go into a deep conversation with an artist because it will just make him confused. Seeing Engine being bothered by all of it, Rudo ends up removing his clothes and asks the artist to draw a mark that would absorb the impact of one powerful strike. Just then, Remlin excitedly turns his pen brush into a tattooing tool. Witnessing this, both Mayor and Engine stop him, being shocked that not only can he cast spells, but also create any tools he wants, since no one is letting him draw a permanent tattoo on Rudo. Thus, Remlin isn't tattooing, but only draws with a pen, giving a heads up that it will eventually wash off. Later on, everyone is heading out as Engine is thanking the mayor for assisting them. At this moment, Remlin is exhausted. The effort of drawing on 9 people has completely taken its toll on him. As they're walking, the ones who couldn't enter the town confront the mayor like crybabies, demanding to know how he could give the art pen to someone unworthy. They protest that they won the perfect art contest and that many people were counting on them to become the new spellcasters, saying this isn't how they deserve to be treated and bragging that they are good artists. They wish that the Canvas Town would see its downfall at this point. By now, all the cleaners, including Remlin, look at this scene quietly, being done with this useless drama. Reaching his breaking point, the mayor gets livid, clarifying that their arrogance is the reason they can't even enter the city. With that, he makes it clear that they don't need posers who call themselves artists, but only care about fame. Dude is allergic to fake creativity. Hence, he suggests they get this through their heads and make tracks, as no one wants to look at their ugly faces. His angry tone leaves no room for argument, and both the guys sadly leave, making Engine laugh because the mayor's anger is always top-notch. By now, Remlin is so tired that he doesn't even have the energy to laugh properly, so the poor kid laughs with exhaustion. The cleaners continue their way out of Canvas Town and say their thanks and farewells to Remlin and the mayor. Engine playfully suggests that the mayor not get angry like earlier, or else he will definitely pop one of his blood vessels. At the same time, Rudo states that he is glad he saw everything, assuring he will come back. Hearing this, Remlin chuckles, assuring them that he will come and draw at Cleaner HQ someday too, probably to turn it into a colorful mess. In the car, Rudo asks if they are going back to the Cleaners HQ. Yet Engine reveals that they are to get Rudo's full face mask. But before that, they are going to do his favorite thing. The two go trash picking in a place where Rudo gets to go through trash to use his vital instrument. Seeing such a giant trash place, Rudo's face and eyes lit up with excitement and thrill. While Rudo is trash picking like a crazy kid, a TV on top of trash turns on, and on the screen is a man wearing Rudo's gloves. The scene switches to all the cleaners arriving at Cleaners HQ. Finally. There, August is being overexcited as hell. Witnessing him being so clumsy, Rudo wonders who this person is. Alternatively, Samu welcomes them all, acknowledging that they heard what happened in Canvas Town. Though Samu is interrupted by August, who makes the cleaner's gear, he announces that Rudo's mask is ready, and his excitement is obviously valid as he finishes Rudo's full face. August is dancing at this point, as the mask came out perfect since he got Rudo's measurements while he was sleeping. And since Engine and Samu told him about Rudo's personality, he made some choices to maximize the cool factor as well. Upon hearing that his measurements were taken while he was asleep, Rudo becomes a statue in shock. However, August is happy that the door was not locked. Rio is impressed, as Man and Rudo don't sleep much, so catching him while he is asleep is something very skillful. Rudo froze in horror, realizing his privacy was now just a myth. Rudo's gonna sleep with one eye open now. Right then, Ishia appears and starts talking to August, calling him brother and begging him to stop causing trouble for everyone. August, being August, talks to her on top of his lungs, screaming like a maniac, which makes Aisha embarrassed. Once again, Rudo is shocked to see that these two are siblings. By elevator, Rudo and other cleaners head into the garage. As they head forward, Rudo doesn't understand why all these ground people shout all the damn time. Hearing this, Engine smirks but then asks Rudo for his choker for a minute. Just then, all the cleaners start harming themselves slightly in different ways to take out a little blood. Scared and confused, Rudo holds out his choker and everyone drips their blood on it. Noticing his puzzled reaction and terror, Engine explains that the choker is like a communicator and can be called on a phone, as Rudo can talk through it to people he has traded blood with. This makes Rudo understand why everyone here wears it around their necks. According to Rio, trading blood makes them feel like they're real friends till the end. Though the moment Engine asked Rudo for some of his blood too, it was as if he had wet his pants or something. Now, in the car driving, the cleaners are all ready to go to No Man's Land to find the lady. Noticing Rudo bringing too much trash with him, Engine reminds him that they will be walking at some point. However, for Rudo, all of it is just backup. Being aware that the trouble will begin the moment they enter the place, Engine suggests Rudo be ready, as it will be the second time visiting there. Finally, the group arrives in the desert of No Man's Land, Penta. Squatting down, Engine notices that the ground has no sand, but waste matter that has been worn down to dust. They recall that the woman should live further in, according to the reports, and warn Rudo to keep up and use the glove 3R to beat them down. In order to go and find the woman, they decide to start with the warm-up first. At this point, Rudo gets a flashback of August telling him to use the full mask. First, he has to put on the half mask, connect it to his oxygen tank, and then put the mask over the overtop and get himself a full face. In another environment, one of the raiders, Jabber, is excited to know if the thing they want is at Penta, the desert No Man's Land. Zodel, sitting in front of the TV, coldly responds that they will know once they get there. Back at Penta, Tommy Mima is recording the data of a trash beast. Its shape is scorpion-like, and the appearance and thickness of an exoskeleton suggest attacks like a scorpion. Additionally, it has pincers and attacks with its tail. While she's writing all this, Rio ends up fighting with the trash beast, moving swiftly, attacking, and dodging the attacks at times. Even though Rio cuts a part of that trash beast, instead of attacking her, it approaches Zanka. The scorpion-like beast tries to attack Zanka, but while dodging its attack spontaneously, he puts his stick into the beast's mouth and finishes it with efficient movements. At this moment, many beasts surround Zanka, but this is when Engine attempts to finish off the beast with his ultimate Octashredder move, causing a great explosion. Yet, one of the beasts remains alive. Thus, Engine leaves that one to Rudo. Rudo uses his gloves to turn a keyboard into a vital instrument. Thus, he takes out a keyboard and turns it into a weapon. At this moment, some unknown girl is watching all of it from afar. Moreover, Rudo types something on the keyboard, and in an instant, the buttons of that keyboard transform into arrow-like missiles, striking at the beast and knocking it out within seconds. As Engine sees lots of those scorpion trash beasts, he realizes that if they've come up to the surface, it probably means there's a ton of garbage buried under all that sand-like stuff. He then notices Follow scolding Tommy for doing her record-keeping duties during the combat, as it is not safe for her at all. Tommy understands that she was wrong on her part, but partially she wasn't wrong because if she didn't record all of it at that time, she would have forgotten everything. Also, she trusts Follow since his job is to protect the record keeper in no man's land. Still, Follow suggests she has some self-preservation instincts too. On the flip side, Rudo gets lost in a cloud of sand. Looking around, he thinks that he saw something, but before he could figure it out, Delman and Tamsi finally find him. Excitedly, Delman pushes him, but this Hulk is so giant that he ends up making Rudo fall on the ground. Though Rudo was caught off guard, he is relieved to see someone he knows, as he lost sight of everyone. Being proud, Delman compliments Rudo for doing a great job taking down that trash beast earlier. He says he wishes he'd been there to see that live performance, but the fight stirred up so much dust that it was hard for anyone to see clearly. Though Tamsi is sure they will be seeing a lot more action ahead, so they shouldn't worry that much. Seeing them happy with him, Rudo is glad that he was a little useful this time. As the dust starts to disperse a little, Rudo, Delman, and Tamsi hear footsteps approaching them. Upon looking, they notice a girl walking towards them strangely. Very politely, she confidently acknowledges that they are all here to see Amo. Instead of answering her, all three of them wonder how long this woman has been here. Though it is hard to see around here, the shocking part is that no one even sensed her either. Instantly, Rudo guesses that maybe she is the same woman they are looking for. However, Engine doesn't think that all of it would be this easy. In addition to that, she doesn't seem hostile to him either. Unsure of what to do, they think of asking directions from her or something. Ignoring all this confusion, Rio bluntly asks this bizarre girl if she is the one who has seen people coming and going from the sphere and the ground. Rio's blunt attitude makes her teammate suggest that she should try being a bit more polite. Though this girl, Amo, doesn't seem to mind this question, she confirms that she is indeed that girl. Having said that, all the cleaners get happy, considering themselves lucky at this point. Before they could talk more, Amo started coughing, explaining that it stinks out here, and it is not good for the lungs. So, they should perhaps do all the talking at her house instead, since masks won't be needed there as well. It is kind of a red flag because if she really feels that it stinks out here, then why did she not bring her mask? However, in her defense, she clarifies that it was a short walk, so she didn't find it necessary. Right now, Rio grabs Engine's arm and suggests that she should go and talk to her, but Engine feels that they all should go, so that even if this girl is plotting something, everyone would be there. And Engine also prefers to talk it out with her. They also agree that if a fight ever breaks out with her, Engine will be the one to handle her, since Engine believes that he can hold back the best. Very quietly, Amo listens to the whole conversation, not reacting at all. This scene cuts to everyone being at Amo's place. Pure horror and fear spread across Rudo's face as he sees what's happening in front of him. His eyes widen and his body freezes, as what he's seeing is so shocking that his mind refuses to believe it. Right now, Engine is unresponsive. as if someone has hypnotized him, and he falls on the ground on his knees with a loud bang. Immensely scared to even look at Amo, Rudo tries to figure out how things ended up like this. Meanwhile, the strange girl stands there silently, her lips slowly curling into an evil smirk. Now everything has been rewound. The moment Engine fell on the ground, everyone ended up at Amo's house, and she took them into her house. Time has turned back exactly 1 hour before it all began. Maintaining a distance, all the cleaners slowly follow this bizarre girl, who keeps dancing and moving ahead. After covering a short distance, Amo stops and turns back to inform everyone that they have arrived at the location. Upon arriving at the place, everyone is baffled. Engine comments on how huge a place it is. Also, Zanka caught sight of it while they were walking, though he never thought that someone would be living here. They are all shocked, as they never expected to find a structure like this deep in Penta, the no man's land. Thus, Tommy writes about it. At the same time, Rudo wonders if this tall place will lead all the way to the sphere or something. Very slowly, the doors of the place open, and Am welcomes everyone, telling them to enter. Even though everyone does not, everyone really likes the aesthetics of this place. Now they have no choice. Because the living room is very messy, Amo suggests that they go to her room for hospitality. Confused, everyone slowly follows Amo. As they walk up the staircase, Amo tells them all to remove their masks, assuring them that the stinky environment never gets in here, so they are all completely safe without any masks at this place. Additionally, Amo mentions that it would not be very good if they all had a conversation with her without showing their faces. Everyone looks at this strange girl blankly. However, they end up removing their masks once they enter the room. The moment they enter the room and Amo turns around, she lights up with excitement because everywhere she looks, she sees beautiful and handsome faces. Ignoring her reaction, Tommy writes down the details that the top floor is the girl's room, calling it a surprisingly whimsical interior, though everyone suggests she not write all this information. At this moment, Rudo wonders how this girl has managed to gather so many unique and strange objects in her room, especially in the middle of a desert. Sitting on a rock-like sofa, Amo excitedly tells them all to feel free to say whatever they want. Glancing at Engine to take permission, Rudo steps forward and says he wants to know about someone who can move between the sphere and the ground. As he heard that Amo had seen them, he'd like to meet them too. Ignoring this question, Amo immediately changes the topic and asks them all what they look for in a crush. Upon hearing this, everyone is caught off guard. But not caring about their reactions, she confesses that she likes people with a strong smell, and the smell matters to her more than faces. As a result of that, she declares that because of these reasons, among all of them, she likes Delmon the most. Having said that, she smiles like a creep, which makes Rudo's eyes bulge like cartoon googly eyes ready to pop out because of shock. However, putting a hand on his shoulder, Engine steps forward and mockingly, he asks the girl if this romance talk is the price for information. He explains that they came to learn how to reach the sphere and taunts that paying with romance talk is easily one of the strangest methods he's ever heard. That being said, at first, Amo becomes speechless, but then goes into a rage mode, constantly chanting that all of it is weird, claiming that they are all here to use her instead of talking to her. She lets out an angry scream, saying she was so happy to finally have visitors from outside, only to find out they just want to use her. Suddenly snapping, she goes into full-on crazy mode, scratching her head, yanking her hair, and ranting like a total maniac. She went from 0 to drama queen in seconds. The girl keeps shouting that they just want to use her, then starts rage babbling that at least they came, even if it was all a lie. However, scratching his chin, Engine rephrases that he is actually interested in her. Everyone looks back at him in shock, and instantly Amo freezes mid-hair pull. After a brief pause, Amo screams like a wild animal, warning Engine not to lie at all. Jumping from her rock-like sofa, she lands on the ground, stating that she is not interested in him anymore. Listening to this, Engine decides to say what is on his mind, just like Rudo. Without hesitation, he tells her to cover herself up a little, as it is hard for him to concentrate. Bro has signed his death sentence. The moment these words leave his mouth, Amo shivers in anger, declaring him the worst person she's ever met. Especially because men who comment on women's fashion are the absolute worst. Angrily, her boots burst into flames as she declares that she's breaking up with him and won't even let him stay friends. Nonchalantly, Engine observes that she's a giver, noting that he had already figured it out. At that very moment, Rudo's eyes widen with shock when his gaze darts at Amo's boots. Rudo spots the mark on Amo's boots, her vital instrument matching his gloves. But before he could do anything, Amo's expression darkened, and she ordered Delmon to take care of everything. Upon obeying the command, Delmon takes out his vital instrument, Thirst Quencher, and shoots Engine with it. Now, in the present, Engine has fallen on the ground, while all the cleaners except for Rudo are frozen. Rudo demands to know what the hell Amo is up to, being aware that Delmon can never do this to his teammate willingly. Screaming towards her, Rudo asks her if she is a giver because he saw her boots having the same mark as his 3R. Not caring about his questions, Amo sits again, smiling strangely, and once again asks what his type is. Out of shock when Rudo doesn't respond, she gets upset since, according to her, talking is how people communicate, and if only both of them talked, then they would get to know each other better. She states that humans love talking about themselves, so it will be more fun if all of them talk about themselves. With urgency, Amo requests them all to start a conversation, but the way she is, Rudo doesn't think that he can carry on a conversation with her. Just at that moment, Zanka steps forward, claiming that he understands all of it. He elaborates that Amo only listens to people who play along with her topic of choice or are actively trying to bring it down. Approaching the unconscious Engine and squatting down, Zanka hopes Amo can hear him loud and clear as he insults her, calling her a cow. Bold of him to insult someone who's clearly one mood swing away from murder. With that, Zanka declares that they won't be listening to her creepy conversation anymore, and he doesn't care how she was able to pull that trick with Engine. But if this is how Engine will be treated, then he doesn't care about Sphere or anything else, because if he sees an enemy, he strikes at them. These statements make Rio and Tomi surprised, but on the flip side, Amo eventually starts crying, hearing all these mean things. As tears stream down her face, she clarifies that she did nothing wrong, leaving everyone startled by her audacity to play the victim card. In an instant, her tearful face changes into pure rage, and before Zanka can even react, Delmon charges forward to attack him. In time, Zanka reacts, grabbing Engine as he dodges the attack, reminding Delmon that he is on their side. Additionally, he tries to make this Hulk understand that this girl is controlling him with her powers. At this point, Delmon's eyes are fully blank, and he demands to know how all of them can hurt Amo. Delmon starts seeming to lose his mind, stating that Amo is the reason he fights and that he won't let anyone hurt her, and if someone tries to do so, then they will face the merciless punishment. Enraged, he claims that it is his sacred duty to protect her no matter what. Studying his behavior, Tamsi informs them all that Delmon is not being controlled, and he means it, as he has spent enough time with this Hulk to know. Hearing this, Grizz takes a moment to digest all of it, as he doesn't understand a single thing. Getting off the rock, Amo grins and approaches Delmon, revealing that Big Man has been her fan for ages. This leaves everyone surprised, but Tamsi is damn sure that Delmon would never attack his own allies just because he likes someone. However, Amo challenges them all that they still haven't figured it out, and Delmon can betray literally anyone just to help Amo. Because of Amo's encouragement, Delmon summons his vital instrument once again, enhancing it and making it even bigger. With that, he steps forward, ready to attack everyone. By now, Rudo shuts off his eyes, not understanding why everything turns into a fight. He wonders if all of this is his fault. Abruptly, Rudo starts hallucinating from his time on the sphere, with people commenting that he is a child with the blood of a criminal, and his filth is polluting everything around him. He hears them all whispering to each other to send this dirt to the pit, though he snaps out of his hallucination after hearing Amo say that she has another fan here. Also, she expressed that she wants everyone here to stay and have a lot of fun conversations, though she warns them all not to say something to ruin this fun, or else her fan will be handling things his own way. Reliving the past ugly memories, Rudo looks on the verge of a mental breakdown. Once again, he hallucinates the apostle standing in front of him, grabbing him, and horror washes over his face. He is spacing out as Delmon shoots water towards him, and he is too out of it to dodge. But the moment Tamsi saves him, Rudo snaps out of the hallucination once more. Noticing how they dodged the water, Delman gets angrier because no one is supposed to dodge his watering. Thus, Delman aims the vital instruments at his allies once again. Just then, Tamsi recalls that the vital instrument ties back to Delman's past, as it came from his desire to see his plants grow big and strong, so anything hit with water it spouts ends up growing and controls the fluid content in the target. Basically, this instrument can absorb the fluid like a sponge and blow it up like a balloon, and obviously, a balloon pops up if it absorbs so much water. It is obvious that Engine was hit on the back by this instrument, but it is confusing that he did it without Engine noticing. Hence, Tamsi explains that Delman can change the nozzle setting for different uses, and it appears that he used the silent nozzle with Engine. Because Delman has never used these settings on anyone before, Tamsi realizes that Amo is for real evil. Even though Rio is very puzzled about so many things, she decides to calm down, damsel, so she approaches him. Scared, Zanka tries stopping her, as Delman is a tricky opponent, and suggests they team up, as he doesn't want to lose another team member. Yet, Rio doesn't stop. Standing in front of Delman, who is gritting his teeth in anger, Rio recalls Amo revealing that she has another fan here, so she cannot even trust Zanka at this point, who is urging her to get back. In a moment of distraction, Delmon shoots a big attack towards Rio, creating a hole in the building. The attack is so powerful that Rio barely dodges it, but luckily, she doesn't fall from the floor, as she ends up bending her body to the floor. Witnessing all this, Amo squeals in excitement, reminding them all that they were already warned that it would be more fun if they just talked to her. Hence, she suggests talking about romance because for her, it is the first step to peace. Finding her crazy, Tamsi pleads with Rudo to snap out of whatever he is going through right now, yet Rudo is still out of it, mumbling about the sphere to himself, assuring himself that he is on the ground. Right then, he imagines Tamsi as one of the guards on the sphere, assuming he is back in hell. Abruptly, Zanka smells something very familiar, though everyone's attention shifts to Amo, who asks the group how they think memories are made, elaborating that if they don't talk about romance, they can smell a nostalgic scent. As she speaks, from Rudo's vision, she is transforming into Chiwa. Hallucinating once again, Rudo, on the ground of the sphere, sees Chiwa in front of him. She expresses her happiness that she's so happy with the rabbit Rudo got her, and she will be treasuring it forever. Yet, seeing this, Rudo goes crazy, screaming that she threw it away in front of his eyes. The scene switches to Amo's room once again, where all the cleaners realize that Amo is messing with Rudo's head now, doing the same thing as she did with Delman. Tamsi realizes that this evil is showing Rudo something, which is making him go crazy. However, Amo clarifies that she doesn't show a damn thing to anyone, but makes a smell about happy times spent with people someone loved. The smell can indeed work differently on everyone, but whoever smells it always starts protecting Amo. At this point, Amo realizes that she overshared a bit too much, but it was helpful for Tamsi and Zanka, since now they take out their masks and immediately wear them. Tamsi thanks her for providing them with that information, knowing that all memories of people someone loves are not always happy ones. Hence, he wonders aloud what would happen if it turns out to be someone they hated. Amo yells, saying that the theme is only happy times. But right now, poor Rudo is hallucinating while lying on the ground, telling Chiwa that she abandoned him and that he hates her. Yet the happy feelings somehow feel even stronger to him at this moment. Rudo then sees Chiwa getting attacked by apostles. This turns out to be a hallucination that Amo is causing, and the guards are actually Zanka and Tamsi, who are approaching Amo. When he imagines Amo as Chiwa calling for help, he lunges forward and punches them both. Looking back, Rudo imagines his allies as apostles, declaring that he is no longer the person he once was, and that now, with his full strength, he will spare no one. Alternatively, Rio and Follow seem to be hallucinating too. At this moment, both Zanka and Tamsi are surrounded by their allies, who are ready to crush the two of them. Indeed, Tamsi never wanted to use his vital instruments on anyone, but now that he has no choice, he decides to use them on them. Delmon hallucinates that Amo is his wife. In his mind, they are living together in a small house, and Amo is smiling, praising him for making the flowers bloom so beautifully, even in such a poor place. She thanks him for working so hard. In his dreamlike state, Delman imagines that the two of them will cover their entire house with those flowers, turning it into a place full of color and life. In reality, in Amo's room, she grins evilly at making the big guy hallucinate like that. Proudly, Amo calls all of her fans, reminding Tamsi and Zanka that they don't stand a chance in front of all these people, so they should not bring the party down. Right now, both Tamsi and Zanka stand back to back, surrounded by massive threats. As a result of it, Tamsi takes out his vital instrument, Tokushin, telling his allies to endure it. The moment Tokushin is being summoned, Delman starts imagining his allies as two guys trying to harm his wife, and the other fans hallucinate their own things. Thus, everyone charges forward to attack both the guys, not wanting any harm to come to their loved ones. Witnessing that all the companions are rushing towards them, Tamsi activates his vital instrument, which allows him to create a net of threads to trap a large number of people. The more the opponents struggle, the more tangled the thread gets, making it extremely difficult to escape. Just like that, everyone except for Amo is trapped in the net. Watching this, Amo, sitting on the ground, wonders if this stuff is a rope or something. Instead of being scared or panicked, Amo is concerned about the messiness that has been created in her room. Hence, she orders all the cleaners trapped in the net to do something. Hearing the command, Rio tries to move, but the rope ends up getting tighter. So, Tamsi suggests they not move at all, or else the net will hold them more tightly. Not caring about the suggestion and only focusing on Amo's instructions, all the cleaners try to get out of the trap, making things more difficult for themselves. Tamsi apologizes for all of it, but he gets shocked because even the pain is not snapping them out of this hallucination. Observing the scene, Amo calls Tamsi mean since he is doing all these childish experiments and only hurting his own friends. Though Amo smirks wickedly because the experiment of tying them failed and they will find a way to escape and help Amo. Also, when it happens, things will get bloody. However, Amo is baffled when Tamsi reveals that his vital instrument is a distaff and is used for winding thread. The moment these words leave his mouth, he uses his spool technique, which helps him reel the people caught into a spool, completely immobilizing them. At this moment, even Amo gets caught in the mess, as all the cleaners' threads were cleverly linked to her. Thus, she ends up getting restrained by the threads, while the cleaners end up getting reeled in like fish on a line. Now, Tamsi demands that she return all the cleaners to normal. Alternatively, Zanka instructs her to do this quickly because he finds them all wrapped in a very weird reel. Also, he is a little upset, as he didn't contribute much this time to save his teammates. Though Tamsi thinks that it is not true, since knowing she was fighting multiple enemies would have put a mental burden on their opponent. In addition to that, he believes that calling this evil a cow was very effective. At this time, Tommy is checking engine. Seeing this, Gree runs towards her, thanking God that she was wearing a mask like his too. Even though Toma has made Engine wear the mask, he still has not been responding. At this point, they have no other option but to consult the medical team on this matter. Being restrained and trying to escape, Amo starts whining as no one has ever been this rough with her. Thus, once again, her crying session begins as she keeps calling them mean, finally letting out a wild, frustrated roar, screaming for help. Hearing her cry for help, all the reeled-in cleaners' eyes widen as the urge to rescue her surges through their bodies once again. Done with her whining session, Zanka stands there nonchalantly, being confident that no one can really move, so it is not an issue. However, to his surprise, Delman and the others go crazy, trying to get out, putting in their full force. Catching sight of this, Zanka takes an attacking stance while Tamsi stands still, being confident. Now that they are tied so tightly, their bodies start bleeding, but no one is ready to give up, being firm to escape and help Amo. At the same time, Amo cranks up the volume of her crying, turning the entire place into a scene of pure chaos. After a moment of brief silence, Tamsi decides that if they all like her so much, then he will release them. Hence, he stomps his vital instrument on the floor, slamming every one of them through several floors of the building. This causes the entire building to end up with a massive hole running straight from the top all the way down to the bottom. At the ground floor, with the help of his vital staff, Zanka managed to get to the ground unscathed, but his face washed over with horror when he looked around, finding all the tied-up cleaners from earlier being victims of fatal injuries. Before he could do something, Tamsi landed smoothly on the ground floor, noticing his companion looking terrified as hell. However, just as they were going to have a conversation about it, they heard giggling echoing in the building. It turns out that Amo is enjoying the show by peeking from the hole in her room. Amo can't help but brag that this is the fate of everyone who doesn't talk to her. She states that everyone shows their true nature sooner or later because the truth gets revealed eventually. To put Tamsi on a guilt trip, Amo blames him for everyone lying dead on the ground, commenting that he had no unity with his friends. However, at this point, Rodu is whimpering in pain, and this is when Tamsi reminds Zanka that he is forgetting something. And it is that they are all allowed to reduce damage from one hit, even if it is a fatal one. He elaborates that they all got the spell drawn on them by Remlin. As they both talk, Rudo eventually wakes up, looking fine, and his injuries gradually heal as well. From her room, Amo quietly overhears all of it, but to her surprise, behind her, Engine has finally woken up, revealing that he got that drawing as well. Grabbing her boots, he mockingly says he'll be taking them, catching her completely off guard. Bro woke up, saw chaos, and thought perfect time to steal shoes. At the Cleaners HQ, at the reception, Semu is going through Rudo's biodata. This is when Corvus hands her a candy, hoping that the cleaners got the information about the border. Having said that, Semu is confident that given the people they have sent, there won't be any problem at all. Noticing her unhappiness, Corvus asks if it is because of what she saw in Rudo. This question kind of surprises Semu. However, Corvus insists she share with him what she saw in Rudo the first time she laid her eyes on him. Back at Amo's place, grabbing one of the boots, Engine comments on how it gives him the ick when people wear only one sock. To get the boot back, Amo strikes a weird, tempting pose, but when he still doesn't return it, she starts jumping around, trying to get it back from him as she is scared that the boot will lose that person's smell. Grabbing her hand and focusing on the statement, Engine slightly loosens his mask and sniffs the boot. The moment he sniffs it, the smell is so bad that he feels like puking. Dude thought it'd smell like mystery, but it smelled like misery. Amo screams at him, warning him not to do it again, as if she is obsessed with it or something. Seeing this quietly, Tommy and Grizz wonder how long Engine has been healed, as they find it impressive that an internal hemorrhage was healed with a minor spell. Tommy informs Chris that Engine was fine when she started administering aid and was playing possum until he could see his chance. At the same time, Engine is startled as hell because this evil girl has been wearing these awful-smelling boots for such a long time. Desperate, Amo tries to snatch it again and again. Noticing her desperation, Engine agrees to give it back only if she returns everyone to normal. Because Amo is wearing only one boot right now, she sadly confesses that she cannot use her powers with one boot, so no one will be protecting her now. At the ground floor, finally, Demlin has gotten back his senses, wondering what bullshit he has been doing. At this moment, Zanka and Tamsi approach him, being glad that the spell worked, and Remlin actually did the drawing spell efficiently. Confused, Demlin wants to know what happened back there. Relieved that he's finally come to his senses, Tamsi explains that Demlin was affected by Amo's powers. She used a smell that makes people remember happy times with someone they love, so she used it to make Demlin think that she was that person. Upon hearing this information, Demlin clenches his fist on the ground, which causes cracks in the ground. He is angry that the one he loved never truly was in this world, and this nasty power of Amo made him believe all that. Zanka agrees, knowing that for anyone who's lost someone important, the richer their happy memories are, the harsher reality feels when they return to it. Rio and Follow are the perfect examples, both looking empty and shattered as if someone had broken their hearts. Later on, after everyone gets to the ground floor, Engine hands Amo back her boot, and she immediately wears it while all the cleaners are now cautious, wearing their masks. Now, Zanka wonders aloud what they should do. Even if they give up getting information, this girl is way too dangerous and can't be left out here like this. Though Engine is aware that without her instrument, she is just an ordinary and powerless girl. Yet, he feels strange taking the instrument that means the world to her. Thus, Engine decides to convince her not to tell anyone anymore. Before they could say anything, Amo started screaming, declaring that her whole house was ruined, so everyone should feel guilty. Noticing her audacity, Zanka steps forward to handle her, being done with her attitude. However, just then, Rudo removes his mask and slowly walks forward, approaching Amo, leaving everyone shocked. Meanwhile, at the Cleaners HQ, Semu reveals to Corvus that she has seen many people in their prime time, but what she saw in Rudo is something strange. because it is not something with his gloves. But what is unusual about him is that something is growing inside him that could destroy the world. It can be called a curse. In contrast, when Rudo approaches Amo, he suddenly loses control and starts punching her non-stop. She ends up fainting on the ground, blood gushing out of her face. The situation got so much worse that Engine had to grab him and pull him back just to stop the assault. Engine tries to make him understand that they don't have to go to such lengths, as they already know her abilities, reminding him that she is just a girl. Though, it was as if someone had taken over Rudo because he doesn't care if she is a woman, as she tricked them all and is a giver who has harmed the people he cares about. His behavior leaves everyone startled, but Engine, being a cool guy, asks Rudo if this was really a smart thing to do. Because now, thanks to him, Amo is completely unconscious, and they've just lost their only source of information. Realizing what he has done, Rudo looks at Engine with a face full of guilt. Taking Rudo with him outside to have a little chat, Engine instructs Tommy to get Amo patched up. Sitting around all the rubble, Rudo waits for Engine to say something, but when the silence drags on, he finally breaks the ice himself, asking why Engine isn't saying anything. Engine expresses that he doesn't know what to say, as he is already aware that Rudo has realized what is going on. It was understandable that he got emotional and forgot the real motive of coming here. Lowering his gaze, Rudo reveals that the whole time he was in the sphere, he always had to endure what people said about him. But the moment he was sent to the ground, he realized that if he tried to hold that rage in, he would lose it. At this point, Rudo has realized that he has gone back to how he was, the version of him that didn't learn patience and who just hit people around him with all the darkness consuming him. By now, Rudo is just disappointed because after all this time, his growth just feels like an illusion after today. Angrily, he calls himself a useless brat. After a brief pause, Engine confesses that he likes girls who are smarter than him, have good bodies, and have forgiving personalities. But ladies and kids with more complicated needs are the ones he has more trouble with, and that is not a thing women want to hear. Still, the fact that Engine can't hide this stuff is one of his bad traits. This means that adults have issues too, but if someone needs to grow, they have to have that realization that they are wrong in some parts. He admits that he was brought face to face with his mistakes ages ago, but Rudo got the realization himself, which means he is a good guy. Hearing all the affectionate words lights up Rudo's face, and both guys decide to apologize later. Back on the ground floor, Tommy is done bandaging Amo, who looks hurt. Tommy assures her that she can talk about anything with her, even romance. This humble behavior of Tommy makes Amo compliment her, stating that Tommy will be a wonderful mom, just like her own. She explains that it was thanks to her mother that she met her first love and got these boots, the same boots connected to the angel she saw traveling between the sphere and the ground. At first, everyone hears this explanation, assuming it is a story of Amo. But then a sudden realization hits Tommy and Grizz. What they came for just got revealed. Amo starts telling the cleaners how one day her mother told her to come along to meet a man. She tells them that when she stopped to look at the crow, her mother told her not to love it since it doesn't love her back. She cursed the crow and walked over. Her mother took her to an old-looking man and told her that he would love her forever, saying that it's a beautiful thing to be loved forever. Amo was curious about her feelings, to which her mother explained that the feeling is called infatuation. Amo's eyes sparkled as she looked at the man's growing wrinkles. The young girl stared at the guy when he handed a money pouch to her mother. He took her into the desert and took her inside. Amo mentions how her mother would like this place, but the man told her that only they will be living there with each other. Time goes by, and the man brings her toys, fine clothes, and unlimited food. One day, he asks the now not-so-young Amo if she needed anything. Amo replies that there's nothing she wants, but she couldn't explain it properly. The man tells her that the feeling she has right now is love. Amo's eyes sparkled again as the wrinkled man became even more beautiful in her eyes. The man lunges at her, telling her that it's love and uses her, then goes on his spiral about how the other traffickers call him weird just because he's a giver. Amo lies there bare, feeling loved, when she sees someone peeking inside. She quickly covers herself as two masked men come inside and start hitting Amo's guardian. The man protested, but the masked guys didn't stop. Amo sits there silently when one of the masked men comes over to her and gives her lover's vital instrument, boots, saying that the boots suit her better and the void created by the others will be filled by them. She quietly takes the shoes and turns around to see the intruders. One of them moves his cloak to reveal a shiny pair of wings surrounded by a golden hue. She understands that the guy was an angel. The men jump from their open window and fly toward the sphere. Amo holds the boots closer to her chest when her lover wakes up. He angrily tells her to give his vital instrument back. Amo tries to speak, but he starts hitting her, calling her a thief and disobedient. Amo tries again to say something, but she feels nothing. She feels her void growing. Then the boots start to glow, and the man stops hitting her. He looks at her in disbelief, asking why his vital instrument is responding to her. Amo looks at him with blood in her eyes, stating that they would suit her better, and pushes him out the window. She looks down in shock to see blood splattered all around and retreats. She starts asking herself why she came to live with him. And the not-so-empty void responds, because her mother sold her. She shakes her head and tells herself that it was because her mother wanted her to be loved. And so she started luring people in to love her because she is made to be loved. She finishes her story as Tommy wipes her tears. Engine asks when the angel last visited. Amo starts sketching the angel's face on the ground and replies that the last visit was a month ago. Rudo looks at the sketch and remembers the guy as Regto's murderer. The blood boils again, shouting at him to kill the guy and make him beg in front of Regto's grave. Amo interrupts, asking if he's here to apologize, then says that the boots gave her human feelings, and that's what's happening to Rudo too, and also to not expect anything from anyone, because they are all also humans. Rudo brings his hand forward, saying they will start learning to trust others. Amo doesn't leave with them but promises to stay in contact. The cleaners leave, and Amo sees another intruder in her house. This intruder steals her boots, leaving her screaming. The cleaners discuss the new information about the raiders, boarders, and the angels that can go back and forth between Ground and the sphere. Rudo thinks about how he lost his temper with Amo, hitting her when she was innocent, then thinks about the human feelings inside him, which leads him to Regto and the state that left him in, then promises himself to take his revenge. The team leaves the desert as Engine drives quite harshly through it. When Rio winces in pain at the car getting jumpy, Rudo notices that her bruises haven't completely healed by Remlin's spell since it only cures the lethal wounds. When Tamsi apologizes to them for using the thread on them, which has given those bruises, Engine spots a city and drives there for their medical checkup. As they roll in, Rudo suddenly remembers it's the same city Engine dragged him to when he first crash-landed on the grounds. To Engine, the doctor is an awesome woman since she was the first one to treat body pollution back in the day, and her shouting habit is an after effect of working so close to those patients. As they keep referring to her as an old lady, she shouts at them to call her by her name, Alice Stilza. Right then, August and Aisha barge out from an inside door in the clinic, making the team realize that Alice is their grandmother. Once the team has been treated, they all leave. On their way back, Engine parks the car under a rock as the trash falls from the sky. He explains to Rudo that it happens on the same route when the sphere moves, which is why they have safe zones. However, it still results in casualties, and those who go to take revenge on the spherites get killed by the border. Therefore, it's a mystery how Rudo and those angels described by Amo were able to cross the border. Right then, Engine gets a call from Semu through the choker, and she asks him to go around the back way since the HQ is dealing with an infestation. However, in reality, the HQ isn't attacked by pests but by a group of marauders, because they have learned that cleaners are sheltering a spherite Rudo. They blow up the top of the HQ and plan on taking away the spherite with them to sell, whereas Rudo suggests Engine support the cleaners at the HQ. The marauders demand to have the spherite handed over to them, but Semia mocks them over the speaker. Turns out, some of their men are secretly trying to break in from another. However, Semia reveals that the smoke coming from the top of the building is released from the inside, and the building is intact even after the missile. With that said, the men who were trying to break in also failed. Semia steps out like it's her morning cardio and swats away every attack. Using her visual powers at their best, she dodges and counterattacks all the marauders by the time Engine and Rudo arrive. The team is at a restaurant, but Rudo expresses his surprise over them relaxing right after the attack. They call it a usual happening, saying that Semu always deals with it easily. Upon asking why she's just a receptionist despite her powers, Engine explains that it's because her powers aren't that helpful against the trash beasts, plus she likes it there. Moreover, if a giver wants their powers unscathed, they choose to become defenders and avoid the front line. After a while, 3 more cleaners arrive, and Rudo hides away his food in order not to share with them. The man among them introduces the green-haired girl as Gita Hebi, the one with a pacifier as Dear Santa, and himself as the supervisor of those children, Bro Santa. When Gita questions Rudo about the sphere, others forbid her to do so, since the marauder from earlier got the information about Rudo from the same restaurant. The girl then pesters Rudo for a chat, which he finds quite annoying. When Rudo goes off to another table while mumbling, a man in a hood asks him if the raiders are after them. As soon as Rudo confirms, the man continues to tell him to be careful and shows him the boots of Amo, which they stole from her. Rudo's reaction to it gives him away, making the man and the woman at his table take off their hoods. The man introduces himself as the new leader of the raiders, whereas the woman turns out to be Chthoni, who opens the manhole in front of Rudo when he tries to punch her leader. The cleaners try to pull him back, but as a result, all of them get sucked into the portal with the raiders. Without the supporters, the cleaners are standing against the raiders in a strange dungeon. Chthoni and Zodal remove their cloaks. At this moment, Zodal grabs Rudo's throat, admitting that he is the raiders' leader. While a news report about an approaching storm plays faintly on the cafe's TV, the real storm has already arrived inside. Zodal's expression darkens as he mockingly tells Rudo that he should have checked the weather forecast, as even if it is a storm for the ages, he could have prepared. At this moment, Rudo's eyes widen, and in that instant, he lunges forward to attack the raiders' leader. Witnessing this, all the other cleaners run towards him too. Though, Zodal stays still, not moving even an inch, because behind him, Chthoni opens her manhole, and in that instant, everyone, including Rudo, Zodal, and the cleaners that rushed for him, gets inside it. At this point, Grizz, Tommy, and Follow are left behind, all startled. Before all these supporters could stop them, they all eventually disappeared into that portal. All the cleaners are now facing the raiders and their leaders in an unknown setting. Rudo angrily asks them about the whereabouts of Amo, but they get no answer. Instead, Jabber only laughs. Jabber just laughs, enjoying all this tension. Just then, Engine steps forward, apologizing to the raiders for ruining their plan of capturing Rudo, as they all came along as a bonus. Gita is confused about them being a bonus, so Ridio explains to her that everyone loves free stuff. However, Engine suggests they stop this light banter and demands the raiders tell them what the prize is they are playing for. Right away, Zodal states how Rudo was worrying about the cleaners' lack of tension, as he was wrong. Since the ground people are always on high alert, it was understandable that this would happen. At this point, liquid starts slowly dripping from the tunnels of the unknown place. Before anyone can react, a huge trash storm rushes in. One of the raiders quickly grabs Rudo to pull him away, while the other cleaners struggle to escape the trash slide. Zanka is seriously struggling right now, trying to get a hold of himself with his vital instrument. Though his eyes widen with shock when he notices Engine using Umbreaker to float on the trash easily. As he floats, he suggests Zanka not struggle because this trash will carry him away whether he likes it or not. The garbage slide takes the cleaners to branching parts, so before they all could be apart, Injan instructs them all to stay alive. In that unknown site, alone with the raiders, Rudo looks terrified as hell. He is pushed on the ground and demands answers. But Zodal clarifies that wherever the cleaners are, it is irrelevant, as they chose to tag along. Though he doesn't like to waste opportunities like these, all the raiders except for the leader use the manholes to play with their bonuses, while Jabber wishes Rudo good luck due to the fact that he will be facing Zodal. Standing alone with Rudo, Zodal admits that he came here to share the rage that Rudo has. So he gives Rudo an offer to take down the sphere with him. Simultaneously, in another tunnel, Zanka struggles to stand up while one of the raiders enters the tunnel as well by the manhole. This question was completely unexpected, hence Rudo is caught off guard. But he also gets an image of the sphere being destroyed, and Zodal could understand that since they both have the same aim. Zodal makes it clear that he has never seen the sphere and has no way to learn about it. Though it is not about what they are bringing down, it is about what will happen to their target. Moreover, Zodal elaborated that what Rudo just pictured was not those he cared about, but what would happen to the target of his rage. At first, these provocations seemed to work on Rudo, but then he again insisted that the leader of Raider let him know what happened to the owner of the boots and the other cleaners. However, Zodal tells him that's not how it works. He has already answered, and now it's Rudo's turn. His behavior makes Rudo nervous, since his behavior is way too different than Amo's was at the start, because with Amo, they all couldn't talk at all, but with this guy, it is like he has got Rudo captive with his words. At this point, Rudo reaches into his pocket, recalling that he has not restocked the trash he has got since the desert, but then he stops when Zodal asks him the reason he joined the cleaners group. Without hesitation, Rudo reveals that he joined the cleaners to find his way back to the sphere, though his lips become all wobbly when Zodal informs him that he can never go back there like that, as the cleaners are only helping Rudo when it aligns with those duties. Sweat trickles down Rudo's face. At that moment, the leader of the Raiders mockingly asks if Rudo can just be satisfied with how things are. Does he really want this mere facsimile of friendship? On the other hand, Rio, in a tunnel, removes the dust from her clothes and mouth. The red-haired girl is way too confused about this place, wondering where all the other people are. Stepping forward, she calls for others, but before she could figure out anything, from the manhole, Norda appears, taunting Rio for mewling and crying out for people, calling it embarrassing. At this moment, every cleaner is stuck with one of the raiders. Thus, Rio is curious if they all plan to remote arenas to fight them one-on-one. Removing Mireille from her hair, Norda confirms that this is indeed the case, admitting they must go through with the mission. Meanwhile, in another tunnel, Jabber, facing Zanka, says the same thing, adding that they need to carry out the mission seriously or risk getting a real tongue lashing. Zanka has taken his attacking stance. Even Jabber is ready with his vital instrument, all thrilled, promising that this time he will himself take the beating from Zanka, as he is an actual masochist. The moment Jabber activated the Mankira instrument, Zanka dropped any questions he had about what these guys had planned, as he only thought of one thing: to defeat this guy. Both the guys charge forward. Jabber is already attempting to attack Zankhut with his weapon, and he is deflecting all attacks coming from Jabber's side. Their close combat makes Jabber way too excited. With that, he walks toward a small pond-like pit and dips his claws into it. Their color changes as his right claws become coated with a neurotoxin, and that one is locked in. He even mentions how he gets bored easily. Whenever he tests new toxins, their effects end up being reflected in his left claw. This fluid dropping from the fluid is a poison. So without even thinking for a second, Jabber strikes that poison in Zanka's direction. On the flip side, Gita has also arrived in a tunnel all by herself, but then she is amazed to see a roach in one of the pipes. While Gita is adoring roaches, Rio is freaking out at spotting these cockroaches on the ground. Realizing she's overreacting, Rio quickly clarifies that she's fine with most bugs. It's just cockroaches she can't stand. Witnessing this, Noerde is so done because Rio lives on the ground, works with cleaners, and a roach scares her. She is so disappointed by the softness of these cleaners, though Rio smirks and explains that she is not even the worst case, as there is one member of the cleaners who ran around screaming when someone flung poop at him. She is talking about Zanka. Back where Zanka is, he didn't dodge the poison, as it was not as bad as shit. But of course he couldn't let it go. He stomps his foot on the ground, shattering the pit of poison and flipping it straight toward Jabber. In contrast, in Engin's tunnel, Fu initially acts very timid, hiding behind a closet while Engin tries to provoke him. As he is getting bored here, Engin asks this guy what their motive is, and if they are after Rudo. However, Fu thinks to himself how cool Engin is. At the same time, Deer and Bro, who are together in a tunnel, wonder aloud what this place is. Though they see power poles, they assume that they are in a cave or something. Smirking, Bundus admits that they are underground, telling them to feel free to confirm it with their chokers. Rio is also trying to contact her teammates, but it can't be done underground, so she cannot count on reinforcement. Grinning, Noerda brushes her hair with Mireille, revealing that Rio and Zodal were instructions to wipe anyone who comes their way other than Rudo, though she proceeds to give her an offer. She suggests that Rio should get serious or her friends will be in danger. Having said that, Rio attacks her first with her vital instrument, Ripper, but Norda is able to dodge her attacks, only to lose a part of her hair, noting that Rio can switch from a simple punch to a bunch of slashes. Rio reassures her, saying that she doubts Ripper can draw blood, but also that she won't be able to guarantee that her hair won't get cut off in the process. Excited and thrilled to make a disaster out of her silky smooth hair, Rio directly charges forward once again, while Norde stays calm in her position, brushing her hair. Just then, her eyes glow bright red. On the contrary, Jabber is pretending to be dead, but actually is just hiding. When he comes out of his hiding spot, he is more excited now as he has gone berserk. Thus, he suggests Zanka go all out. At the same time, Rio is literally paralyzed, not having the ability to move at all due to Norde's ability to generate electricity in her hair via her vital instrument, which allows Norde's hair to get charged with static electricity when she straightens her hair using it, electrocuting anyone and anything that makes contact. Obviously, this was bad news for Rio in one of the items. Before Bro can fully process this, Deer tugs on his sleeve and points to the ground, where Bro notices tiny walking hands approaching. Meanwhile, Semu reports to Corvus that 4 members of Akuta, including Rudo, along with 3 members of Child, were taken by the raiders and have gone missing. Grizz suspects someone with warp abilities was involved and requests a rescue operation. Corvus agrees, telling Semu to gather anyone available and assuring her that he'll track their location, as he knows a skilled information broker. Back with Bro and Bundus, Bro remains stunned by the question about Corvus, while Bundus calmly assures him that this will be a private, one-time exchange of information between them. Thus, they can trust him, or else they will be staying here until Bundus gets what he wants, which might be Bunda. Not having much of a choice, Bro agrees to give answers to the questions he will find appropriate. To Bro's surprise, Bundus literally asks him about Corvus's favorite food. Confused, Bro assumes that maybe the boss likes sweet stuff, but just like that, the string of strange questions continues. Bro realizes how bad the situation is, as he thought he could skip potentially damaging questions and wind it up quickly, but everything Bundus is asking is totally weird. Even Deer is starting to get restless, which builds the pressure for Bro, as he doesn't want wrinkles on his son like the little boy's face. Having no choice, Bro admits that he has no idea about this stuff. Hearing this, Bundus steps forward, stating that if their side loses, they are going to serve up a trash beast. Having said that, Chthoni, receiving this information from his hiding spot, gets nervous. Even Bro is shocked about how Bundus gave them very important information so nonchalantly. Meanwhile, in the other tunnel, Jabber unleashes Mankira's true, fully released form, where Mankira grows drastically in size and power. In this state, he provokes Zanka, pushing him into a berserk frenzy as well, though he admits that no average person can stomp him unless he holds himself back. But he feels most alive when he is going all out fighting. Hence, Jabber has his hopes high now, and he wants Zanka to go all out as well. Laughing manically and jumping like Skibbity Toilet, Jabbers insists Zanka show him the brutality he has been hiding, no matter who is the cleaner or raider. Zanka stands silent, out of options. Zotl begins reflecting on how strange living beings are, changing their forms just to survive in their surroundings. Yet, he can't understand why he and Rudo share the same look in their eyes, despite Zotl being a groundling and Rudo a spherite. Surprised, Rudo tells him that if Zotl had really wanted to talk, he could have just approached normally, but instead, he chose violence. Rudo tells the leader of the raiders to stop acting as if they are sane and to quit pulling other cleaners into their madness. After a short silence, Zotl explains that there are groundlings who actually worship the trash falling from the sphere, believing it to be a divine blessing. This belief was deliberately taught to them and treated as common sense by the corrupt, making it impossible for Rudo to know who has been poisoned by these ideas until it eventually reveals itself. Though there is an option to snap them out of their toxic delusion, and that can be done by shocking the system. While saying this, Zotl casually eats a cockroach, leaving Rudo completely speechless. At the same time, he tells Rudo that shocks like that are important, the same kind of shocks Jabber once used on him. Thus, Rudo eats a cockroach without a roach. Nah, just kidding. Meanwhile, Jabber has attacked Zanka while he stands there thinking about how he is not naturally talented, but an ordinary man. Hence, he cannot really defeat Jabber. But this is how the fights get intense and thrilling. Both guys charge forward, attempting to attack and dodge each other's strikes. At this point, Zanka is literally trying to be saved from Jabber's claws. But still, no one can control this wild beast, as he gives a real tough time to Zanka. Still, Zanka tries to attack back, but doesn't get a good result in return. In the heat of the moment, Zanka becomes a victim of Jabber's claw and gets struck by it. In that instant, Zanka falls on the ground. Seizing the moment, Jabber activates the poison stored in his left claws. 3 recent toxins, one that numbs, one that induces euphoria, and the freshly prepared gloopy Geo. Zanka whimpers and groans, struggling to stop the heavy bleeding in his leg. Jabber watches him for only a second before driving his claw straight into Zanka's body. Almost immediately, Zanka's eyes glaze over, and even his vital instrument shuts down. Zanka tried his best to stand up on his own 2 feet once again after getting struck by Jabber as he hallucinated his past opponent. Yet, the poor guy ended up getting stabbed by the poisonous claws. He was born into the prestigious Nijiku family and was expected to become a Hellguard like his older sister and brother, as people wanted him to shoulder the burden of ruling over the ground. To meet those expectations, he joined the Central Hellguard Training Academy in the Kamutari district as a trainee, where he and others learned that their greatest threat was often their fellow men. It was that time of the year again at the academy when the new batch of recruits arrived. However, rumors had spread that this year's newcomers included a talented girl. Though Zanka had also been the topic in the academy, everyone thinks that he carries himself like he is a cut above because his father is one of the town's big shots. Some kids bring pencils to class. He brought family reputation. It is true that Nijiku's clan people get into the academy easily, but Zanka holds strong under the pressure and always gets the best marks in class. Zanka could always hear what others had to say about him. Upon entering his class, everyone looked at him as if he were a celebrity or something. Though he held his poker face, deep down, he was aware that he was the best. Zanka is too proud of himself, knowing that he wouldn't be caught dead being compared to the bozos around here, since he works so hard. Not only when it comes to studies, but training as well. If arrogance were a subject, he'd probably have a PhD by now. Later in the class, the lecturer announced that they have been seeing a rise in giver crimes these days, which means that they need a strong Hellguard that can stand up to givers. Afterwards, to everyone's surprise, Hyo literally beat every student in their class during her first sparring session. The most shocking thing was that she literally held Zanka from behind and defeated him too. The professor was way too proud of her, telling her that she could even take the golden throne at this point. Instead of responding to the teacher or any student, Hyo goes and stands by a nearby tree, making everyone feel that she is way too arrogant, as the teacher never praised someone like this, but this girl dared to ignore and go to the side. Tayu could hear everyone talking trash about her, giving excuses about why they lost. But then, realization hit them that this girl even defeated Zanka. That's when everyone gets quiet, because if the big shot's son got folded like laundry, no one else had any excuses left. Rather than giving excuses, Zanka chuckles, admitting that Hyo is a tough one, and it is nice to see a style he has never seen before. With that, Zanka left for training, leaving everyone confused and surprised. At the wash area behind the training hall, Zanka clenches his hand angrily on the rock surface of the wash area. He couldn't bear the fact that he'd lost. He squeezed so hard that blood began to seep from his palm. The guy recalls how he was in close combat with the girl and was defeated in mere seconds. All these thoughts make Zanka so angry that his nose starts bleeding. In that instant, Hyo comes from behind, letting Zanka know that his nose is bleeding. At first, Zanka is concerned about whether the girl heard everything, though he calms down, asking her why she is here. Also, he congratulates her as she is a Golden Throne candidate already. Hyo explains that she came to find water and wonders aloud why the Golden Throne is such a big deal. Zanka explains that all famous people have sat on that seat, and it is like a benchmark. However, Hyo shows no interest in the seat, unable to understand why everyone has made a big deal out of it. She thinks people just want it to look impressive. Pressing forward, the teacher announces having a special class. The academy has gathered together several weapons, and the students are asked to follow their intuition and choose one that speaks to them. 3 days have passed since that class. Right now, Zanka is sitting underground in a deep well, as he felt obliged to crawl into it. Some people who were passing by chance noticed him and stopped by. Zanka explained everything to them, and now they are sitting at the top and enjoying some of Zanka's local leaf-shaped manju that was in the bag and was left behind. Zanka recalls explaining to the guy outside the well how everyone chose the weapon they thought of as the strongest. To act smart, he picked up a worn-out piece of crap that didn't even look like a weapon, since he had always heard that the most awesome weapon is the one that looks like junk. It turned out that it was not even a weapon, as the school screwed up setting up the table, and some random sticks were mixed with the others. When Zanka held the stick, everyone gave him disdainful looks. But then came the real deal when Hyo chose an ordinary, unremarkable sword. Turns out, she didn't need anything fancy to prove she could still beat the whole class senseless. This was a turning point for Zanka, as he had his depressive mode. The guy at the top is done with the snacks, suggesting mediocrity can still get better than natural talents. The guys know that Zanka would still continue fighting, being damn aware that he is still holding that stick he finds so stupid. It was true, he was clinging to that stick. As the passerby begins leaving, he advises Zenka that he can never become strong until he knows his weakness. It turns out this passerby was none other than Engine, with Ryo. Before leaving, Engine told Zanka that they would be back in the city to eat more of that manju. Hence, he will be looking forward to seeing Zanka prove himself one day. Back in the present, remembering everything he'd been through, Zenka stood up once again, summoning the same weapon that he had found stupid in the past, which activated as a vital instrument called Lovely Assist-Staff. Stepping forward, grabbing his instrument, Zanka declared that he wouldn't give up until he proved what mediocrity could do. But, in reality, none of it was happening. Zenka was lying on the ground, barely conscious, muttering those words in a weak, trembling voice. Witnessing all this, Jabber started dancing as he found all of this way too thrilling, singing that he used gloopy goo toxin and neurotoxin and threw it in the venomous hallucinogen. He had used this on Zanka. It caused hallucinations so vivid that anyone could think they were in real life. It even made people puke afterward. Right then, Jabber stated that in the fight, Zanka broke his rib, which now hurts a lot. However, he was bored now, as he had actually thought that they would be having a neck-to-neck competition. At this point, Zenka started laughing. Seeing him this way, Jabber wondered what he was hallucinating about. Being a crazy jerk, Jabber lay beside Zenka, and both of them started laughing maniacally. On the other hand, Gita got out of the tunnel she was in, and she was now exploring the whole place, trying to get to different tunnels to find at least one of her companions. Just as she entered the new tunnel, horror flashed across her face at the sight before her. On the other hand, Jabber was dragging Zanka into a tunnel, being all excited to offer him to the trash beast, now that he had carried out his mission like a champ. In another tunnel, the confrontation between Engine and Horus turns farcical. Paralyzed by the weight of Zodal's expectations and fear of his own dark side, Horus pathetically begs Engine to attack him first. Engine, however, chooses to taunt the boy by refusing to start the fight, denying him the trigger he needs to enter combat. The high-stakes duel between Ryo and the human Pikachu, Nord, has evolved into a desperate struggle for survival. Having managed to shake off the disorientation of a massive lightning stun, Ryo deduces a critical flaw in Nord's offense. Her hair acts like a battery that fully depletes its electrical charge after a major discharge, necessitating a manual reboot with a plastic comb. Ryo tries to capitalize on this brief window of weakness by drawing Nord into a high-speed chase through the tunnels. However, Nord proves she is far more than a one-trick elementalist. She reveals her heritage as an elite martial artist from the legendary and now defunct Cilia tribe. As the fight shifts into a visceral hand-to-hand brawl, the gap in raw combat experience becomes painfully clear. Despite Ryo's agility and skill, she is overwhelmed by Nord's superior speed and the uncanny prehensile control she exerts over her hair. Nord delivers a series of bone-shattering strikes that leave Ryo vomiting blood and physically separated from her signature scissors. Standing over her broken opponent, a triumphant and arrogant Nord boasts that Rona's screams will go unheard in these depths, coldly informing her that she and the other cleaners are nothing more than fuel for an impending sacrifice. Rono, however, remains eerily composed as she absorbs Nord's gloating. Without a hint of hesitation, she suddenly produces a Glock and fires 2 rounds into Nord, catching the raider completely off guard before she can even comprehend the shift in weaponry. As Nord collapses to the ground, gasping for air and spiraling into a panic, Ryo pins her down and aims the barrel directly at her forehead. When a stunned Nord demands to know why she is wielding a firearm, Ryo explains the moral loophole she has been forced to navigate. She reveals that Engine had strictly forbidden her from taking human lives, which is why she had struggled so hard to end the confrontation using non-lethal means. Ryo acknowledges that Nord's strength was simply too great to overcome through conventional martial arts, leaving her with no choice but to escalate. With a chilling politeness, she thanks Nord for the earlier confirmation that the area was soundproof, noting that it saves her from a lecture, as Engine would certainly be furious if he caught wind of this. Rio makes it clear that while she considers her scissors to be her true, cherished vital instruments, tools she has vowed never to stain with human blood again, the gun carries no such sentimental or moral weight. To her, the firearm is merely a practical tool for the dirty work required to ensure her teammates' safety. Rona says that it is a farewell gift from her previous boss, and Nord panics on realizing that the redhead used to be an assassin. Rona gets really close to her face as she says that it will be their little secret. She then tells Nord that she is really lucky because Injin has her on a leash right now, and he has ordered her not to kill anyone. That is why Rio is going to spare her, but she has already wounded her leg and shoulder, making sure that she can't move. She tells Nord to ask the manhole cover user to rescue her. But before that, she wants to know the location of the rest of the raiders, so that she can save her friends. She points her gun at Nord again, threatening to shoot if she doesn't give an answer. But ironically, she knows nothing about the location of other raiders. She tells Rio that only the manhole cover user and Zadale know the location of all the raiders, and Rio doesn't know how to find them. As she starts patching up herself after the fight, her thoughts wander off to MC. She was always really curious about him, but her curiosity was not entirely harmless. She just wanted to know how he would end up. But after seeing him extend a hand of friendship and understanding towards Ammo, she thought that she should leave him alone for some time. A few minutes after that, Rona finds Jabber and shoots him through the leg. But she is not done with that. She unloads the entire magazine on the crazy bastard until he is bleeding out on the ground. Rona feels that he is too stubborn to die with just this, so she won't get in trouble for shooting him multiple times, and then turns her attention towards Zanka. She finds that he is still alive, even though he is in a terrible condition right now, so she decides to take him back to the safe zone and get him patched up. Meanwhile, MC is still stuck with Zod without any progress. When the manhole cover user appears next to him to give him updates, he reveals that Jabber won his fight while Nord lost hers. Oros is still delaying the fight, while Bundis is talking to the father and son duo to get information about the leader of the cleaners. MC panics on hearing this and asks them, what are they doing to the cleaners? But Zodiel doesn't plan to give him any answers. He declares that they should get moving, and the manhole girl vanishes before appearing right under MC's feet. She drags him into one of her portals, and MC crash lands right in front of the giant egg. He starts cursing Zodel for handling him so roughly without even telling him why he brought him here. Zodel appears in the room just a second after this and asks MC if he can't do anything without cursing and whining. He repeats his offer of taking down the sphere together and tells MC to think hard about it. He asks if he needs to bring a picture book and crayons to explain things properly to his peanut-sized brain, and that offends MC. He declares that he hates annoying jerks like him the most, and Zodel wishes that someone smarter had dropped down from the sphere instead of MC. While the two of them are launching insults on each other, Gogura is hiding behind a rock nearby, terrified of everything. Zadol then remarks that despite MC being the one most desperate to reach the sphere, he probably didn't contribute anything to the ongoing mission to find clues about that. He decides to show what he has found out on his own in the meantime, and takes Ammo's boots to the monster egg. He slams the boots against the eggs, and suddenly a bunch of spikes come out of it, stabbing the boots. As the enigmatic pulse of the glowing egg intensifies, it begins to voraciously siphon energy from the recovered boots. Zodel observes this process with a cold, clinical fascination, informing MC that these boots are legitimate artifacts of the legendary Watchmen series, putting them in the same elite category as MC's own gloves and Zodel's protective coat. This revelation leaves MC reeling, but Zodel is far from finished. He confesses that his past was defined by an obsessive failed pursuit. He had attempted to forge his own artificial entries into the Watchmen series. MC watches in sheer visceral horror as the thick, veiny branches that had previously shrouded the giant egg begin to unfurl, latching onto the jagged cavern walls like the legs of a parasite. The egg is finally revealed in its full grotesque glory. Zodel explains that Watchmen items possess a historical longevity and a reservoir of power that dwarfs any standard vital instrument currently in existence. Zodel posits that the original creator of these legendary artifacts must have possessed a near-godly volume of machina, as even Zodel's most extreme efforts could not replicate the specific essence of the series. Yet, he clarifies that his research was not a fruitless endeavor. He recounts a pivotal memory of discovering a rare necklace discarded in a mountain of refuse. He had attempted to pour every ounce of his concentrated emotional energy into the jewelry, desperately hoping it would ascend into a Watchman item. When the necklace remained dormant, he threw it back into the trash in a fit of disappointment. However, the frantic, ominous cawing of nearby crows forced him to turn around. To his astonishment, he witnessed dark energy erupting from the filth. The necklace began to levitate before exploding into a blinding pillar of light. On that day, Zodal accidentally discovered the secret to birthing a trash beast powered by a vital instrument, a creature far more durable and lethal than any natural monstrosity. He correctly guesses that MC has encountered such a beast before, recalling the near-invincible foe that the cleaners struggled to put down. Zodal continues his chilling monologue, declaring that the gargantuan beast currently gestating within the egg is his masterpiece. He believes this special creature will provide the transport necessary to reach the sphere and finally bring about its total annihilation. The mention of the sphere triggers a flood of painful childhood memories for he vividly recalls the isolation of his early years, where the citizens of the upper world branded him a creepy outcast because of the grotesque, unhealing wounds on his hands. They looked at him with inherited hatred, seeing only the son of a notorious murderer and praying he would be cast into the pit before he could follow in his father's bloody footsteps. Regto was his only sanctuary during those dark times, constantly reminding a young MC that the opinions of losers who didn't truly know him were worthless. Regto's belief was simple: if people actually understood MC's heart, the hatred would vanish. Despite Regto's wisdom, the stigma of being a killer's son caused MC to suffer from frequent emotional breakdowns, during which the agony in his arms became unbearable. He remembers a specific day when Regto found him writhing and groaning in physical and mental torment. Regto had tenderly cleaned his wounds and hand-fed him, promising that the pain would eventually subside. While this kindness provided temporary relief, the recurring agony forced Regto to seek a more permanent solution. Drawing inspiration from an ancient, worn-out book bearing the mysterious Watchman symbol, Regito took a desperate, extreme path. He eventually returned home battered and exhausted, carrying the very gloves MC wears today, items designed to finally subdue the chronic pain in his arms. MC finds himself fixated on the memory of the dark, heavy expression Regto wore that day. As he pushes his mind to remember more, the specific symbol of the Watchman from that old book flashes vividly in his mind, snapping him out of his trance. He returns to the grim reality of the cave, watching the pulsating egg continue to drain the energy from Ammo's boots. Zodal acknowledges that while Watchman items are undeniably in a league of their own, he observes with a slight frown that even the potent energy within the boots will not be sufficient to fully empower his ultimate trash beast for its final journey. However, MC is not even thinking about that. He asks Zodal if there are more vital instruments in the Watchmen series besides the 3 they know of. He wants to know, how did Rito get a part of that series for him in the sphere when the rest of the parts are on the ground? Ruzadel also notices his confusion and says that he now understands that MC knew nothing about vital instruments before he reached the surface. He finds it really odd that someone from the sphere would have them, and on top of it, he is shocked to see that MC still has his sanity despite using the Watchmen series gloves. Zod looks absolutely menacing as he thinks about it, which freaks out MC. He asks, what the hell is the Watchmen series? And Zodal tells him that all the items in the series were originally used by just one person. He asks MC if he has noticed the infinite power his gloves hold, and then tells him to think about the person who created not just the gloves, but all other items in the series. He wonders what kind of life that person lived to create something so powerful. MC has no answer to that. And then Zodal adds that if someone whose needs are satisfied wears the items from the Watchmen series, that person slowly goes mad. MC replies that he has not gone mad despite wearing the gloves for years, and Zodal believes him. He says that people like him use the Watchmen series in the normal way, and they feel that they have lost some part of their humanity along the way. This reminds MC of his troubled childhood, and he starts feeling bad about himself, when Zodal tells him there is no need for that because losing their humanity allows them to use the overwhelming power of the Watchmen series. Zodal releases his Maya, saying that he has always wondered what would happen if a powerful giver would wear all parts of the Watchmen series. He declares that he needs to know the answer to that question to achieve his goals, and he has been experimenting for that ever since. He sends his mommy into the Trash Beast's core, activating it while telling MC that it is the same Trash Beast that he first created. He reveals that the instrument that he failed to turn into the Watchmen series item that day only became an egg-like trash beast, and he evolved it by offering other vital instruments as a sacrifice. He releases even more energy, telling MC that everything he has done has been for the sake of the experiment. He brought the cleaners here so that he could absorb their vital instruments and make the trash beast strong enough to destroy the sphere. MC finally realizes that they are inside a gigantic trash beast right now, and it is waking up right now. Zadel tells him that he is right because they will cross the border with the trash beast's help. He wanted the cleaners on the trash beast when he did that because the greater the number of people they have, the greater the chance that someone will survive crossing the border. MC is mortified on learning this. And then Zadell tells him that he has been keeping a keen eye on the weather report as well. Since the storm of rubble has just passed nearby, it means that the sphere is right on top of them, making this the perfect timing for his plan. However, there is something that Zadell had not considered in his plan, and that is Gay, who was hiding in fear the entire time. But the moment she heard the word trash beast, all her fear vanished. She suddenly comes out of hiding and rushes towards the trash beast's core, eager to fight a monster because that is what she does best. Injin and Oros watch in horror as the ground shakes violently. Oros panics, fearing Zodal is losing patience since the fight hasn't even begun. He pathetically follows Injin, begging for a single attack so he can justify his existence. Injin, barely suppressing his laughter, manipulates the boy into revealing that they are actually inside a colossal trash beast. The revelation hits Injin like a nuke. Meanwhile, Bundis, Bro, and Santa experience the same tremors. Bro hilariously assumes the earthquake is caused by Santa's impatient foot tapping, but Bundis bluntly corrects him. They are on a monster destined for the border. Once the reality sinks in, the cleaners shift into business mode. Bro and Santa activate their vital instruments, a bandana and a pacifier, surprising Bundis with their sudden ferocity. Bro explains that while they were fooled into thinking they were underground, the lack of toxic fumes from such a massive beast is a mystery. Bundis, realizing the talk is over, summons sentient metal hands from the furnace on his shoulder. Bro responds by tying Santa to his bandana and yeeting him at the walls. Though the initial hits seem weak, Santa's ability allows him to absorb energy with every strike, eventually gaining enough power to shatter the beast's internal structure. The battle is interrupted when the monster takes flight, flipping the room and sending everyone into a freefall. In a chaotic sequence of events, Bro, Santa, and Bundis end up inside a car tumbling through the wreckage. The three enemies are forced into a surreal hill climb racing scenario where they must cooperate to survive the dive. Bruno tries to steer the wheelless box, while Bundis uses his mechanical arms to punch away debris. After a frantic maneuver involving a telephone pole and Bru's bandana, they crash land into a sewer pipe directly in front of a bewildered Injin. Injin is gasted to see his friends on a road trip with a raider. Oros continues his pathetic begging for a fight, while Bro warns Injin that the beast is heading for the border. Injin briefly feels happy for MC's goal of reaching the sphere before realizing the lethal danger. Suddenly, Semio manages to reconnect through their chokers. She berates Injin for the kidnapping and demands he act like a cleaner. Despite the lingering mysteries of the beast, Injin vows to live up to his name, which means one who connects people and gathers everyone under his umbrella. Semio confirms that elite backup, including Tamsi, the healer, and Gree, is already en route to their location. Meanwhile, near the monster core, Zodal calmly finds a place to stand, even as the trash beast's movements make the place flip on its side. While MC barely hangs onto a rock, Zod tells MC that the trash storm comes every 6 years, and today is the day it will pass right over them. He says that the trash beast has the ability to ride the strong winds of the trash storm and cross the barrier, and he just altered its posture a bit to make it easier. Zodal then tells MC that he doesn't want to turn him into an offering to the trash beast because he has too much valuable information about the sphere. He once again asks MC to join hands with him because he is the one who can get him to the sphere fastest and help him get his revenge. Zedal asks him what can the cleaners even offer him, and instead of thinking of an answer, MC stares at Ga lying unconscious far below him. Zedal tells him that the cleaners only want to fight the trash beasts, and if he stays with them, his goal of returning to the sphere will be sidelined. He calls them trash and asks him to discard that trash because that stands between him and his ambition. Rode thinks hard about it and then tells Zadale that he gave his gloves the name 3R. He says that the leader of the cleaners told him that in the past, people used to say a phrase called reduce, reuse, recycle when they faced a great environmental crisis. That phrase meant to inspire people to use things better to generate less trash. And that is the perfect name for his vital instrument that does exactly that. MC declares that nothing in this world is a waste, neither things nor people. He says that even his meeting with Zadel was not a waste because that made him realize that he has friends who will always come to help him if he is in trouble. This pisses off Zadel, but MC continues saying that even though he was a sapphire who couldn't do anything right, they still accepted him and treated him as one of their own. He says that the only people who cared about him after Regto were the cleaners and he is not going to abandon them. He calls Zod a loser who will never understand those things and then declares that even though he still wants his revenge, he won't be satisfied with just that. MC suddenly leaves the rock and begins falling to the ground, telling Zod that he will live with the cleaners, have fun with them, and then happily get his revenge. This makes Zod furious, and he jumps after MC, activating the power of his coat to quickly catch up to him. He grabs MC by the throat, saying that everything he said was a waste of his time and he will make him regret his words. Rona replies that Sadal is just salty because he is jealous of his friends, and Sadal asks him, "Where are your friends when you need them the most?" Suddenly, the wall behind them is opened up by a massive explosion, and Injin comes out of the dust cloud, floating using his umbrella and telling Zod that MC's friends are here to pick him up. A few moments earlier, when Injin declared that he would become the umbrella under which everyone would gather, Bundy scoffed at him, asking if he really thought he could do that. He told him that such a thing would not be possible inside a trash beast of this size. And Injin replied that it is easier to create a big show than he thinks, and they only need to put a lot of power into it. Bundus asked him if he thought his power was enough to take him out of this place. Injin told him that he had already said everything he needed to say. With that, he took the leap of faith and jumped out of the pipe, using his umbrella to generate friction against the wall and slow down his fall. He then suddenly activated the power of his umbrella and turned it into a drill to quickly pierce the inner walls of the trash beast. Bundus was stunned, speechless on seeing this because Injin had figured out the direction his friends were in. He wondered if the cleaners have some special technology or ability that lets them find their friends. And at the same time, Bro and Santa started swinging around like Spider-Man and following Injin's trail. Bro answered Bundus, saying that the cleaners have no special means to find each other. But he trusts Injin because his hunches are mostly right. Injin is proven right yet again as he reaches the room where MC and Zodal are. Zodal immediately stops his attack on MC and retracts his power as he sees Injin and remarks that he did great in finding him, but just one more enemy is no match for him. Right at that moment, the rest of cleaners come out from the hole he drilled. Rio thanks him for creating the path because she was getting lost otherwise. Jin says he is glad to see that she is fine, but then he notices Xena, who is barely alive. On the other hand, Bro asks Gita what is she doing on the ground, and she tells him that she hit her head somewhere, and now she feels like sleeping right here. Zodal gets distracted by this, and MC uses this chance to get away from him. He tells Zodal that all his friends are still alive because they have the power of friendship on their side. MC is done with Zodal's yapping about the experiments and declares that his plan will be foiled any moment now because the monster core is right in front of them and all the cleaners are here. Zodal's expression turns cold and menacing on hearing this, and he tells MC that before the cleaners can damage the trash beast's core, it will cross the border and they will see what happens then. With that, the trash beast utilizes the cyclone and begins lifting itself upwards. On the other side, Injin notices that Rio's attire has changed and she is no longer hiding her gun. He asks her if she killed anyone, and she freaks out as she tells him that she hasn't taken anyone's life as she drops Zenka on the ground, knocking him out once more. Suddenly, the trash beast changes its posture slightly, and the core room's angle is changed, forcing everyone to move along to regain their balance. Zodal is pleased that the trash beast is on the move already, and he tells MC that now they are in a race against time to see if they can cross the border in time. MC suddenly dashes towards the trash beast core, telling Zod that he can yap as much as he wants, but the way to stop him is really simple. He remembers that they fought a trash beast with a vital instrument as its core, and they just need to destroy it to stop the beast. He pulls out an item from his bag and activates its power, turning it into a super-powered nail gun. MC shoots at the trash beast's core, and Injin excitedly tells Rio that MC is also using a gun, but she is still busy processing the fact that they are instead a trash beast. However, before MC's attack can hit the core, a set of metallic arms block it off completely. Zodal menacingly declares that neither his experiment nor his training is complete yet, and then Bundus comes out of the ground. He once again introduces himself, but this time tells everyone that he is actually a raider in training. Brona is shocked to learn that this old geezer is actually still a newbie. And then Bundus decides to show everyone what he can do with his ability. He flexes his metal arms and says he will stop everyone alone. Injin and Rio glance at each other and then rush straight towards the core, but Bundus sends one arm each in front of them at impossible speeds and stops them both. Bron and Santa follow suit and rush towards the core, but Bundus uses another pair of arms to stop them. After that, MC also tries the same thing, but Bundus stops him with his fifth arm and tells everyone to stop trying the same thing. He then reveals that his metal hands are like prosthetic arms that became part of his body once he crossed certain ages. He asks the cleaners if they can get past his arms and then reminds him that he has not even used his sixth arm yet. In the heat of the conflict, the manhole user approaches Nord, delivering a sharp psychological jab by highlighting how effectively Bundus, the other raider in training, is holding his own. This taunt strikes a nerve, reigniting Nord's fighting spirit. She refuses to accept a humiliating defeat and vows to see the mission through. Back at the beast's core, the situation remains dire for the cleaners. MC feels as though an insurmountable chasm exists between him and his goal, as Bundis operates like a sentient fortress. Every projectile MC fires is effortlessly neutralized, and even Ryo's most deceptive maneuvers are predicted and blocked. Seeking to break the stalemate, Injin attempts a direct drilling assault, only for Bundis to deploy a specialized hand manifested on his 20th birthday. This limb utilizes fingers tethered by threads of light, which he expertly twirls into a golden lasso that snags and immobilizes Injin's umbrella. When Ryo attempts to intervene, she is met by Bundis' 40th birthday arm, a massive limb that expands in size to crush her counteroffensive. Bundis continues his masterclass in battlefield management, effortlessly suppressing Bro's bandana with a clawed hand from his 18th year and unleashing nightmare-inducing creepy monsters from his 35th birthday hand to keep Santa in a state of constant flight. Bro realizes with sinking dread that they are facing a seasoned veteran whose tactical intellect allows him to counter every specific fighting style the cleaners possess. While Zodal observes with detached approval, the manhole user retrieves a severely injured Jabber, prompting Zodal to begin his retreat. MC, sensing the trash beast climbing closer to the lethal border, initially falls into despair as Bundis smashes him into the rockwork. However, a moment of clarity strikes as he looks at his gloves, the precious gift from Risho. Realizing he has cared for his instruments as deeply as Bundis has cared for his own, MC resolves to shatter his perceived limits. This determination triggers an incredible manifestation. A pillar of dark red energy erupts from MC, and a brief vision of a celestial rainbow bridge over a river of trash reveals his untapped potential. His nail gun undergoes a radical evolution into a massive, high-powered cannon, channeling the full power of his 3R ability into this single ultimate form. MC fires a supersonic step nail that generates such intense heat and pressure it shatters Bundis' mechanical arms. Though MC momentarily wavers out of sympathy for Bundis' destroyed treasures, the old man's reveal that he can simply repair them turns MC's pity back into burning rage. As the primary raiders escape through portals, Nord, unleashing her final evolution, traps the cleaners in a horrific electric field. Amidst the lightning, the structural damage from MC's cannon blast causes the room to breach, creating a vacuum that sucks the wounded Nord into the border. Her final moments are filled with a terrifying revelation: the watchman at the border strips away everything precious from those who cross it. As the remaining cleaners struggle against the suction of the breach, Gita arrives to save the day. Moving with surprising calm, she drags the unconscious Zanka and, following Bro's instructions to enter level 3, transforms into a massive, dragon-like beast. She uses her oversized body to plug the hole, stabilizing the pressure and allowing the team to refocus. With the shock of the lightning fading, the cleaners unite for one final push. Injin, Ryo, and MC charge the core together, with MC ultimately ripping out the vital instrument at the monster's heart. As the beast's heart crumbles to dust, the entire structure begins to disintegrate in mid-air. Gita acts as a living escape pod, clutching Zanka in her jaws while the others cling to her soft, squishy back to survive the fall. MC narrowly escapes falling into the abyss after a frantic scramble to retrieve Ammo's boots, saved only by Injin's quick reflexes. Behind them, the massive artificial beast slams into the earth, creating a thunderous shockwave. Thanks to Gita's unique physical properties, the group survives the crash landing without injury. Once the danger passes, Gita's stoicism gives way to a tantrum over being covered in filth, tossing everyone off her back into the trash. Finally grounded and safe from the border, the exhausted cleaners secure their masks and sink into the refuse, finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. And being the only responsible adult in the group, Brona tells them that they shouldn't stay too long in a polluted zone. Injin replies that ever since they returned from the no man's land, he hasn't been able to catch a break, so he might fall asleep on top of trash. Now, hearing about the no man's land makes MC realize that the raiders never told him what happened to Ammo, and he gets concerned about her. He begins going through all the things that Zodal told him, but there was not a single mention of Ammo in his talks. He tries really hard to find any clue, but the only thing he learned about from this entire incident was the existence of the Watchmen series. All the pent-up exhaustion finally starts catching up to MC, and he feels really tired and sleepy. He wishes to eat something sweet before passing out, when suddenly the backup forces arrive. Gop is the first one to pick up the sound of their car, and soon everyone is attentively waiting for the backup. Delman scares the sleepiness out of MC's body by shouting that he was really worried about him, and at the same time Gree asks if anyone is seriously injured. Injin tells him that Xena has taken the most damage. Meanwhile, Griff walks to MC, saying that he is really glad that he is fine. MC looks at his face, and in his delirious state he calls Griff Big Brother and then immediately collapses. After a while, Tamsi and others stand above the walls of the city where the raiders had set up their base. Delman yells that until now the raiders only meddled in their plans. But now that they have started to build artificial trash beasts, it is a declaration of war against the cleaners. Tamsi says that they can fight the raiders later because right now there are more important questions they need to answer. His first question is, how can the raiders create the artificial trash beasts? And the next question is, how many artificial trash beasts do they have in their arsenal right now? Geeta is there to answer his question, and she tells Tamsi that the leader of the raiders was trying to create entries in the Watchmen series, but he failed, and the result of his botched experiment was the artificial trash beast. While Brew gets traumatized because Geeta is showing her skin, Tamsi is more focused on what she has to say. Geeta wonders what is so special about the Watchmen series, and if putting all the pieces together will do something magical like granting all of their wishes. She says that if she can get a wish, it would be to turn back time so that she can fight the giant trash beast for real. Tamsi doesn't understand what making an entry in the Watchmen series even means, but then he realizes that they need to be patient to find out more information about the raiders. He says that they just need to stay alert because it is likely that they will need to deal with a lot of artificial trash beasts going ahead. On the other hand, MC regains consciousness and he doesn't want to talk to anyone about anything before he gets some sugar in his body. He doesn't want to bother with the deep stuff right now because he is feeling too relaxed after suddenly finding himself in a safe space. Soon after that, the cleaners head back to their headquarters, but as they are passing through the nearby city, a scammer decides to get in their way. He waits for their vehicle to get close and then jumps in front of it at the right moment. The car drifts as it brakes just in time before hitting the loser. But he falls on the ground and begins screaming like a bai, saying that his arm is broken. Once he has finished his pathetic acting, he rushes to the car and demands compensation for his broken arm. The windows roll down instantly, and inside the car, Injin and others are grooving to gangster music. Injin tells the scammer that he can take him to a good doctor in the neighboring town who can completely heal his messed up brain. He doesn't even wait for a response and drifts the car away, almost knocking down the scammer for real this time. They leave the city with that, and MC finally takes off the sunglasses that he put on just because everyone else was doing the same. Delman yells at Injin, telling him to learn how to drive smoothly from Grick. He says that Injin's rough driving style only gives creeps like the one they just met an excuse to sue them. Injin replies that he doesn't drive like Grun on purpose because when Grunon takes the wheel, everyone falls asleep. Folo immediately comes in support of Injin, saying that after the incident with the raiders 2 days ago, everyone fell asleep as soon as Grunon started driving, with MC being the only exception. Injin remarks that MC is quite impressive to stay awake when everyone else was looking like a corpse. MC, on the other hand, is still stuck on the sunglasses and asks why they were both wearing them inside a car. No one answers his question, and Delman begins telling Injin that the music is too loud. Injin replies that Delman is the last person who can lecture him about being loud, and Folo yells at both of them to shut up. MC gets disappointed because he really wanted to know the reason behind the sunglasses, but now he has no hope of learning it. Soon, the group reaches the headquarters and they begin heading to the common room with some shopping bags. The weirdo named August approaches them and starts complimenting MC's dressing sense and the brand he is wearing, but that is only because he designed those clothes. MC and others simply ignore him, but August is persistent and lays on the ground. He remarks that the fabric on the sphere is really thick and asks if the weather there is cold or if the ground is really hot. MC just steps over him and goes to his destination, and August asks if he is ignoring him because he is a real cleaner now. Injin answers on MC's behalf, saying that he is just really nervous right now, which is why he can't pay any attention to things other than his goal. MC stands in front of a door nervously, recalling the conversations he had with the squad earlier. He wanted to visit an injured friend with flowers to wish them a speedy recovery. But Injin, Delman, and Folo were stunned to hear this because this ritual didn't exist on the ground. Delman suddenly went serious and told MC that flowers are an incredibly rare item on the surface, and it is not easy to grow or buy them on the surface. Folo agreed with him because he knew that Delman knows the most about growing flowers here because he used to do some gardening for his late wife. Delman expressed his sincere regrets to MC, explaining that flowers are far too precious a commodity on the surface for him to spare even a single bloom. MC, feeling a wave of guilt for even asking, apologized in turn, realizing he had underestimated how rare nature's beauty is in this harsh world. However, the conversation took an unexpected turn when Delman's initial hesitation transformed into genuine excitement. Hearing about the customs of the sphere fascinated him, and he loudly declared that the tradition of giving flowers to the sick was an elegant and uplifting ritual that the people of the surface ought to adopt immediately. He suggested a compromise. While real flowers were out of reach, he knew a specialty shop that sold high-quality, realistic artificial flowers made of plastic. Enticed by the idea and needing to restock medical supplies from the eccentric, bald Dr. Alice, Engine, and Folo, decided to join the excursion. Despite the group's enthusiasm, MC couldn't shake a lingering sense of unease. He worried that he was inadvertently forcing the high-altitude culture of the sphere onto his newfound friends. Back at the organization's headquarters, a sense of heavy anticipation hangs in the air as Semiu questions Corvus about whether he is anticipating a formal visit. With a calm, knowing air, Corvus confirms that he is expecting a group of highly distinguished guests to grace their doorstep at any moment. As if on cue, a specialized retinue of warriors led by the formidable and frigid Nijaku makes their entrance. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Corvus maintains his poise and invites the group inside to share tea, masking the tension of the meeting with traditional hospitality. As the interaction unfolds, the realization of who these visitors truly are begins to dawn on Semiu. She identifies them as high-ranking officials from the sphere, specifically belonging to the elite and feared military branch known as the Hell Guards. In that moment of clarity, Semiu finally understands that MC and the other youngsters weren't sent on their field trip to Canvas Town as a mere reward. Corvus had strategically orchestrated their departure to shield them from the scrutiny and danger of this high-level interrogation. Nijaku wastes no time with pleasantries, cutting straight to the point of her visit. She informs Corvus that the upper world has just been subjected to the most violent and widespread trash storm documented in over 6 years. She delivers a sharp, cold reminder that the primary purpose of the cleaners is to neutralize trash beasts effectively enough to ensure the absolute safety of the citizens residing in the sphere. According to her reports, the recent conflict was handled so poorly that severed biological remnants of the beasts were propelled upward, causing actual injuries to people above a failure that the authorities find entirely unacceptable. She issues a thinly veiled threat, stating that if Corvus cannot provide a compelling justification for his failure to report the severity of the situation, the Hell Guards, or perhaps even the more powerful Hell Knights, will be forced to conduct a thorough and invasive audit of how the cleaners are managed. Throughout this barrage of accusations, Corvus remains remarkably unruffled. His expression as cold as ice. He pointedly notes that the Hell Guards have historically remained indifferent to the inner workings of his organization, and he boldly demands to know the true motivation behind their sudden and aggressive interest in his affairs. Back on the field trip, Rio takes them through the whole town, which is known for its inks, as there is a special kind of oil which gives the ink made here a really vibrant look, and they don't fade easily. With that, she also tells them that they need to stick together since this town is also known for a string of kidnappings. They don't really give any thought to that though, as MC finds an ice cream shop and gets distracted. Meanwhile, they continue getting tailed by Fu, a former member of the Raiders who now wants to join the cleaners. He tries to get his act together and summon the courage to go and talk to the kids when he notices that these cleaners seem no better or less animalistic than the Raiders. He sees MC trying to break through everyone to reach a candy shop, as the ice cream gave him a sugar rush and now he has basically gone berserk. Meanwhile, Rio finds it funny for some reason and starts laughing like a maniac, scaring Fu even more. Suddenly, a creepy old man appears behind the kids and Fu immediately realizes that the man is a kidnapper. He asks MC whether he wants some candies and claims that he has loads of them at his house. MC doesn't even think twice and starts following the man when he suddenly takes a sniff and claims that the man smells nothing like candies and decides to launch a strong kick, which extinguishes the man's entire family line. Watching that, Fu decides that there is no way he is going towards these demonic kids and decides that it would be better to simply contact the organization headquarters itself. With that out of the way, the kids walk another 17 kilometers to finally reach the Canvas Town. By that time, Rio is totally beaten and complains about how they should have simply taken a car. But MC claims that this is nothing, and they should walk even more if they want to become good cleaners. There they meet the guy who takes them inside, claiming that they should stay the night here itself. While walking through the tunnel, Rio asks MC what he thinks about when the word mural comes up. MC replies that he imagines a huge wall with paintings on it. Rinu looks pleased with herself and motions at MC to look up. The moment he looks up, his mind is blown away as he realizes that this mural has paintings on the ceiling instead of the walls. Rio explains that the first spellcaster artist loved seeing the surprised faces on everyone. That's why she made the mural up on the wall. Just then, Engine and Santa also arrive, and Rio is now sure that they have brought a vehicle all the way from the headquarters while making them walk all the way. Engine, Rio, and MC all lay down on the ground to give their necks some rest. When both MC and Engine spot the marks of the watchman at the mural, they immediately sit back up in shock as MC realizes that this is the same mark as that on his gloves. Back in the canvas town, Ronas tells MC that the 4 marks below the main idol were made by the creator's best friends, which they don't know about, but the one on his gloves are marks of someone known as the Undertaker, Kenny Sherbreck. MC looks at Engine with an empty expression as he tells him that his full name is Engine Sherbreck.